All right. There we go. Sup, ladies and gentlemen, Ackle here. Welcome back to each and every one of you. And of course, if you're watching this over on YouTube, please remember to hit that like button and also hit the link in the description down below, because it is always better when it's live. D-Rocker, how you doing, brother? Very happy to be back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. It's not a long stream. We still have load shedding, but it is a stream. And I hope that that's good enough at the minute, because that is genuinely the best that I can fucking do as things stand. D-Rocker, how you doing? Just get some stuff going there. Hopefully we get some new fucking Dragonflight news soon, because I'm a little bored with the fact that there isn't. Good as watching your VOD eating popcorn and you went live? Oh shit. Which VOD is that, D-Rocker? Last week. I think Friday. Hold the phone. I need to check something quickly. Ah, yes. On Friday. Sorry. I need to check whether I made the last videos live. Lunari, how you doing? Nope. I think I have videos that should be made live. Number, what is this? Gazuzian, how you doing, brother? Number, what stream is this? This is number 132. So we have to get number 131 as, yeah, 131 needs to be uploaded or exported to YouTube. Let's get that up and running. And then it's Digitmark, how you doing, brother? Ariani, how you doing? Holy shit, you guys are just fucking showing up. Just showing up. Meiji, how you doing, brother? Yeah, I don't have a choice. I have to fucking be early because my power's going out. Dude, it is, at this point, it's a farce. But I think I'm getting used to this so much that it just doesn't matter. Like, I'm at the point now where it legit does not matter. It's like, well, it is what it is. What are you gonna fucking do? You know? Sorry guys, I'm just busy doing a bit of admin here just because I forgot. I forgot to do this admin earlier, so just doing them now. What else am I supposed to do? I feel like there's something I'm missing. Something I forgot to do. What did I forget to do? Gilgamesh, how you doing? Talokan, how you doing? Has the government given you any information on when load shedding is getting better again? So they told us that they think by the end of the week. So they think that load shedding will end at the end of the week. I don't know if that is going to happen, though. Digit, how you doing, brother? I don't know if that's going to happen, though, because the only way that load shedding gets better at the end of the week is if nothing else breaks in the meantime. Alcove, hey, bro, it is my absolute pleasure. I love being here, and I can't wait for us to return to normal fucking stream hours. Well, I say normal. When have we ever had fucking normal stream hours? Talakan, what is the weather like in South Africa? Cold. Very cold right now. At least for me. I think the rest of you, especially if you're from Europe or the colder areas of the US, maybe you wouldn't be that cold, but I am fucking cold at the minute. CDJ, how you doing, brother? Because usually, I mean, I'm in the Western Cape. We have proper winter here. We even get snow sometimes. Although, rarely. Scartu, how you doing, bro? Look, I'm sorry. Europeans, Americans, I have zero sympathy for any of you being hot right now. I don't care. I live in South Africa. You guys think, oh my god, global warming? Global warming is normal for us. That's like normal weather in South Africa. So you guys can go fuck yourselves with your, oh my God, dude, it's so hot. Yeah, it's nice and cool here. I'm loving it. I've got a nice little jersey on, a nice hoodie. I'm feeling quite warm and cozy. It's all fucking brilliant. I don't care. Rainy season and floods. Right? Where do you live, MMO? Summer in the Norman's northern hemisphere right now. In the temperate zone, I'm in the tropics, so monsoon. Oof. Fucking oof. What's tobacco? So you arguing with Twitter's again? Too bored. You know me, right? I have to argue with the Twitterino bastards. Idinex says it's 50C here right now. I would very much like to die. Can't be fucking 50C. Are you serious? $50C is quite hot. It doesn't even get 50C here. And I'm in South Africa, right? So, it's 32 with 99% humidity. Ooh. Oh, shit. All right. Yeah, okay, fine. I'll feel a little bit sorry for you fucks, okay? So let's get on the bandwagon of Alpha. Did you get it? No. No. Why would I get it? So, just to prove the point, because there's actually people that don't believe me. There are actually people that don't believe me. I'll prove the fucking point. All right, let's get this up and running. Here is my Battle.net launcher. I installed it very recently. Reinstalled it. As you can see here, subscription expired. I do not have an active subscription for World of Warcraft as things stand currently. I haven't had an active subscription for a really long time. And here is the in-development stuff for me, right? Wrath of the Lich King Classic Beta, Classic Season of Mastery, Public Test Round, Classic BCC, Public Test Round, Burning Crusade Classic, World of Warcraft Classic, World of Warcraft. This is all I have. I don't have access to the fucking to the alpha. I do not have a current subscription to the game, nor will I have one. And if you can just cast your fucking eyes, I don't even have the game installed. I don't even have the game installed. So the next time someone wants to be like, oh yeah, he's still playing WoW, he's just pretending like he doesn't like it. Sure. I like World of Warcraft so much that I fucking uninstalled it from my PC. This is how much I enjoy playing World of Warcraft. Probably made them blacklist you at this point. I'm pretty sure I am. Okay, here's my second account, Apocalypse, just in case you were wondering this as well. Not installed, subscription expired. Still no access to anything. So, yeah. Even on my second account, I do not have access to the game. I'm pretty sure I am blacklisted, but then again, I'm fairly certain that I am, like, I've been blacklisted for a while, right? Because, remember, I have a fucking collector's edition for Shadowlands up on the shelf over there. I got a collector's edition from Blizzard. They sent this to me. Blizzard sent me the collector's edition for Shadowlands. And then they removed me from everything. Like, they removed me from all of the email, newsletters, all of the early news stuff, everything. They just deleted me off there. No emails saying, hey, you're no longer a preferred content creator or anything like that. Blizzard just fucking ghosted me, bro. And since then, it's been, like, it's been drier than the fucking Sahara up in my DMs from Blizzard. Like, Blizzard does not speak to me. Nor do I want them to, just to be clear. I don't... I see it as a personal badge of honor, if I'm going to be honest with you, that I don't have alpha access and that Blizzard doesn't want to talk to me, because it means I'm doing something right. If you're making YouTube videos for World of Warcraft right now and Blizzard loves you, it means that you've not been doing your job. Because your job is to hold Blizzard accountable and force Blizzard to fucking fly right. And if Blizzard still loves you, it means you didn't do what the fuck you were supposed to do. So yeah, I see it as a personal badge of honor that no one at Blizzard wants to talk to me, that I've been blocked by basically everyone at Blizzard Entertainment. I just found out last week that I am blocked by all of the writers almost for Icy Veins. Like, I'm pretty sure every single one of them have me blocked, which is actually good because Icy Veins is just a cancerous website that really shouldn't exist. It is just completely useless. Their class guides are the worst. If you want to play worse, you follow Icy Veins class guides. But I'm pretty sure I'm blocked by all of their fucking writers. I'm probably blocked by most of the Wowhead writers and I don't even know who the fucking MMO champion writers would be, but I'm probably blocked by them as well. So personally, I like the fact that I'm pissing off 90% of the fucking WoW community. Makes me happy, right? Because I see a lot of people in the WoW community as just fucking beneath me. So yeah, there is that. Mads, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Miaru, how you doing? Funny enough, Blizzard never asked for the opinion of people that have left the game. Yeah, because, well, they might actually learn something, right? WoW community needs a boot up the arse, to be honest. I agree. It is most important. True. Gonna start another heresy now. Blizz's favorite sons turning on them. Dragonflight is the one, right? It's the one that Blizzard needs to sort of bank on in order to bring players back. Because, yeah, I feel like there's enough. So I feel like Dragonflight specifically is a dangerous one for Blizzard. For a number of reasons. So first and foremost, there's now legitimate competition within the MMO market. You have Guild Wars 2 that is apparently ramping up production on their end. You have Final Fantasy that is just still owning, you know, all the way to the fucking bank at this point. And next year, we have the poised release of the Ashes of Creation MMO. If WoW Dragonflight sucks, there is enough competition within the MMO market that World of Warcraft dies in 2023 if Dragonflight sucks. So I don't think Blizzard have any sort of give and take. I don't think they have any wiggle room. Lost Ark? I don't know if Lost Ark is better than WoW. Like, Lost Ark is pretty shit, to be fair. With my WoW gold on token to buy the expansion? Fedora, but that's still, you still gave them money. That's fine. I don't mind if people pre-ordered the game. Look, if you know you're going to be playing the game, you may as well pre-order it, right? There's nothing wrong with pre-ordering if you know you're going to be playing it no matter what. I'm not going to sit here and judge you. I'm not pre-ordering yet because I feel like there's still things that Blizzard needs to prove to me. So I'm not ready to pre-order yet, but I can see why people would pre-order, and I'm not going to sit here and judge you for that. Crash the Fool, what makes you so certain that Dragonflight will suck? Why are you convinced of this fact? That's fair, but I don't know if you can say that you're convinced it's gonna suck because you've lost faith in Blizzard. Because yeah, sure, I don't think there's many people that have faith in Blizzard right now, but I will tell you this: it seems like Blizzard is on the right path. Everything I'm seeing, they're doing so many interviews with so many content creators. They're constantly speaking to the community. They're constantly giving updates to the community. They're constantly trying to redo things and put things into context, which is something that's very much required, is explaining to the community what it is that you're trying to do. And they do seem to have the right approach this time around to what alpha and beta needs to be. I literally just covered the interview this morning with Morgan Day, where they said players need to understand that this alpha, they're dialing everything up to 99. So they're going to go full throttle. And then once they've figured out where the lines are, so where things sort of break, that's when they'll start pull back. And they'll be like, okay, wait, let's pull this back a little. That's a bit much. That's a bit much. Let's pull it back a little. But for now, this is sort of where they're they're dialing everything up. They're going to go full throttle as fucking hard as possible to test the lines of what breaks the game and what doesn't break the game. And I think that's the right way to approach the alpha. I still wish that there wasn't an alpha. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It is the most triggering thing in the world to me, the fact that there is alpha. I hate that there's an alpha and a beta for World of Warcraft, but I don't know. Apparently that is a pretty divisive thing to fucking believe. Apparently people don't like the fact that I don't like alpha existing. So, you know. Swanky Tiger, it's not so much of a thing of whether I mind or not. It's that... Why? So, even if I said it... No... Even if I accepted that, you know, Blizzard can do zone testing and things in alpha, I still come back to one fundamental question. Why? Why is alpha and beta a thing in World of Warcraft? If you take all of the top MMOs, so you take Final Fantasy, you take Guild Wars 2, you take ESO, and then you take World of Warcraft, of the top 5 MMOs, it is only World of Warcraft that have a completely open and non-NDA alpha and beta phase. It's just wow. All of the other top MMOs, if they have an alpha and a beta, it's usually incredibly limited, right? So Final Fantasy doesn't even have an alpha and a beta, but they do have a marketing tour, and the marketing tour is usually like dummies, access to the classes, the jobs, and maybe one dungeon. So, you know, media personalities can get a taste for what the future of the game might look like. But that's it. There's literally nothing else. Guild Wars 2 have very limited betas. So for Guild Wars 2, the beta is usually open at very specific times. And then also it's sort of limited in what you're allowed to taste. They don't give you everything. They give you some things that they want to taste, some things that they want to see, and that's it. And then you have ESO, which I also believe do not have an alpha or a beta for their game. So what makes World of Warcraft special? Genuine question. What is it that makes World of Warcraft special? Why is it that WoW, of all games, World of Warcraft needs an alpha and a beta? SL Beta was a bait and switch. Beta Torghast was pretty good. At release, it was a sack of shit. True. Because of the streamers, in my opinion. You think it's because of streamers. But that doesn't make any sense. Why then give anyone else access to it? But Kazujan, I actually think that it hurts. I think alpha and beta hurts the game. I don't think it helps the game. I genuinely don't. I don't think that whatever gain you get because of the hype that is created and the free marketing that is created because of alpha and beta, I think gets destroyed by the impact that it has on the game and the longevity of the game. You guys will agree with me. An MMO, what makes an MMO is a shared world, right? A shared world, a persistent world, a world where all of us play in the same world at the same time. You would agree with me on that, right? That's the whole point of something being an MMO. That's literally the difference between an MMO and a multiplayer. multiplayer, you can play with plenty of people at the same time, but the world is usually not shared between you and anyone else. Everyone will have their own instances of the world. All right, so we agree on that. But alpha and beta does not make things a shared world. Because by the time the game launches, there's a group within the community that have already seen everything, they have already mapped everything, they have already tested everything, and then there's another group of the community that now want to get in and actually explore the world. They actually want to explore the game, and they want to see everything for the first time, and they want to be there for all the new things. But the excitement isn't shared by the whole community. Because two people walk into the same dungeon. For one person, it is their first time in this dungeon ever. So for them, they're not only enjoying the dungeon, they're also enjoying the scenery. They're enjoying the boss design, the mob design, the sounds and the music within the dungeon. For the other guy, they've been there 50, 60, 70 times. So they're now stepping into that dungeon and they just want to get through everything, get to the final boss and get their fucking gear. So Blizzard have created basically this dual caste system where there's two communities that exist. The one that had alpha access and the one that didn't. I don't see how that is healthy for a game where the whole premise of an MMO is the shared world that we are supposed to play in. I don't think that's healthy. Call me fucking nuts, but I don't think that's healthy. Wait. So wait, not having alpha means that Blizzard would have to release a flawless game. I would argue that's the opposite. If you have alpha and beta, you are expected to launch an absolutely flawless game because you fucking had alpha and beta. If you don't have alpha and beta, players will be able to forgive you for bugs and things like that because, hey, you didn't have an alpha and a beta. It's the reverse. It's not the inverse. The fuck up, the royal fuck up is that Blizzard have alpha and beta and the game still launches in a sack of shit state. Right? That's the problem for Blizzard, is that World of Warcraft usually launches with so many bugs that they may as well not have a fucking alpha and a beta. Extended alpha beta and are slow to respond. Again, I think it's fine if you want to have stress testing. I think it's fine if you want to have a beta where you do class testing. I do not think that the whole game should be available for testing. I think that is ridiculous. I think if Blizzard did do an alpha and a beta, but they put NDAs on alpha and beta, that wouldn't bother me as much, right? So even if you did get access to it, you're not allowed to leak anything. You're not allowed to show anything. You are only allowed to give feedback. I can get behind that. And there's a way for them to do that as well, by the way. I got access to WildStar's alpha. This was years ago, obviously, when WildStar went into alpha. I got access to the WildStar alpha. And during the WildStar alpha, because they had alpha weekends, where some weekends you could play for 3 days and you could taste very specific things. But the whole time, you were playing with a watermark on your screen. Like, the entire screen was just filled with a number. It's like a random number. This number is tied to your account. So if you leaked anything, a screenshot, anything, this number would tell them that you were the fuck who leaked it. Blizzard could do that. I mean, is that really impossible for Blizzard to do? They basically just used alpha and beta to promote the game. It's evident by mostly big streamers, usually ones who are positive about their game, get the access. If it was for testing, they would add the NDA. They would add the NDA and they would add people that are incredibly critical to the game. That's who they would add. and I don't mean any hate by any of this. I genuinely do not mean any hate by any of this. But let's quickly be honest. Who would you rather have tasting your game? Me, someone that have been incredibly critical of the state of your game for the last 2 expansions, and now you are trying to go in a brand new direction, the fucking direction that I have said you need to go in for the last 4 years. Get rid of the borrowed power, get rid of the fucking unnecessary grinding, just get back to basics, right? This is what you're now trying to do. Would you rather have me tasting your game? Who do you think would provide more valuable feedback? Me or Solso Breezy or Taliesin or Mr. GM? And no hate towards any of them. I love all of their content. I think they're all great content creators. And I think they should still have access to the alpha and the beta. But whose feedback is going to be better? The people that are just always extremely happy with the game, no matter fucking what? Or the person that fucking hated the game and that will be honest that, hey, if you keep doing the things that you're doing, I'm not going to like the game. But no, I'm not getting alpha access. Luckily, I'm not important in this. They did give Asmongold alpha access, and Asmongold, might give feedback and will give feedback on things that he thinks. So that's a good thing. The fact that actually the thing that pisses me off most isn't even me not getting alpha. I'm fine with not getting alpha. But Priest, how in the fuck do you have a new expansion coming out, literally doing everything that people like myself, people like Preach, people like Asmongold have been saying you should be doing for a fucking long time, and you are not inviting Preach? You're not inviting Preach to give feedback. Explain this to me. Can anyone fucking explain this? Did I say Priest? Excuse me. I mean Preach. Anyone explain this to me? For the love of fucking God, can anyone explain this to me? Yeah, Preach did hurt their fifis. Preach and Blizz got into a spat a year ago. I hope they are mending fences behind the scenes. I don't think they are. Especially since the Preach is actually pretty hurt by the fact that they did not give him alpha access. Not hurt as in crying, but I do think he is taking it very personally. Because Preach basically got told, he said this in one of his streams, so I'm not speaking out of turn here. He basically got told by someone that works at Blizzard, you're blacklisted, mate. They're not giving you shit. But CDJ, those are exactly the people that you want tasting your fucking game. Blizzard is fucking clueless, dude. They are so far up their own assholes. It is phenomenally fucking mind-blowing just how deep into their own assholes these people are. Like, they get Ian to speak to Asmongold, and that is a fucking great step in the right direction, right? Trickstar, by the way, thanks for the Prime, so pretty appreciate that. 8 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So they get Ian to speak to Asmongold, and that is a step in the right direction. But then the very next move they make is, fuck it, we won't give Preach alpha access. It's like, what the fuck? Oh my Jesus. You want to know something? If I want feedback on a game, I'm going to go to the people that are most critical of that game. So my brother is currently designing his own game, right? It is a survival game. It's based on survival metrics, all the rest of it. That's the game that he's working on. He phones me once a fucking week, and he runs things by me. So asks me for advice and things and stuff like that. Why? Because I fucking hate survival games. And he's trying to figure out what is it that I hate about survival games, and what is it that he could do with his game to make that game appealing to players that don't like survival games. Now, he's still going hard on the everything that people with survival games love, but he's trying to figure out if there's a way to also get non-survival players into survival games, and specifically into that game. That's how you do it, right? That's how you want to make a game. You want to go to the greatest critics of your game. You don't want to fucking work with just everyone, all the yes men, effectively. Mujan, that is true. That is true, but I feel like Blizzard shouldn't be... So, Blizzard should not have taken it personally when Breach decided to leave World of Warcraft and start playing Final Fantasy. The fact that they took that personal is really problematic to me. Because it's not a personal attack. It's an attack on your fucking game. And the fact that your game sucks. And the fact that you started working on Dragonflight since before Shadowlands launched means that you guys were also not happy with the direction of your fucking game. So, you know, what the fuck? But Blizzard just will never listen. They're never gonna learn. Because they live in fucking California, where everyone smells everyone else's farts, and everyone thinks that they live in paradise, and they can't see that they live in literally the shithole of the world. I live in South Africa. My power is out fucking once a month, right? For weeks on end. And I would still rather live in South Africa than move to California. If you gave me a ticket right now and said, hey, dude, there's a house waiting for you. You just need to get on this plane. There's a house waiting in California. I would fucking give the ticket away. That's the problem with the people that work for Blizzard. They're all smelling their own farts, thinking that they are the absolute coolest and the best people in the fucking world, because they don't know any better. They're stupid. That's it. They are just fucking stupid. Why pay for cheap and nasty when you can get value for money as a consumer elsewhere? True. But if the house is out in the country, you wouldn't have to deal with any of that. I do know, Swanky Tiger, that there is a difference between the sort of out of the city areas and the city areas, but still. Twaki Kaki, how you doing, bro? I still wouldn't live in California. So we're going, even if, yeah, okay, that's actually a fucking good point. Even if we exclude the humanity of it and the fact that you maybe want to make a good game, let's just talk about professionality. You are a professional gaming company. You make video games. From a professional standpoint, you want to get someone like Preach to actually test your game. I'm moving out to other states. Maggie, I know. I have a few friends, actually, that lives in California that are moving out of California now because they fucking hate it there. If they were professionals, we wouldn't be having this discussion. I feel like we would always be having this discussion because we love World of Warcraft. And when you love something, you're almost always going to be able to find things that's wrong with it, right? And you're going to want to talk about it because you want to make it better. That's the whole point. That's what it means to like something, to love something. And there's never going to be a world in which Blizzard is just going to do everything absolutely perfectly, right? That world does not and will never exist. It really can't exist for various fucking reasons. You're always going to fuck up. You're always going to make mistakes. There's always going to be things that you can do better. The question is just, are you willing to listen and learn? And the fact that Preach does not have beta access or alpha access kind of makes me wonder, how willing to learn are they? Fingers crossed, ActiBliz MS deal will go through smoothly and would have a better start in the remaining year of 2022. Why exactly? So, how many of you think that the Microsoft deal will actually save Blizzard? Why? Let me ask this. Why do you think the Microsoft deal could save Blizzard? Because I'm not convinced. To be honest, I'm not convinced that the Microsoft deal is going to do jack shit. Microsoft does not interfere with how game companies that they buy change or make their games. They don't interfere almost ever. At least not from the companies that I see. I've spoken to someone that works for a company that was acquired by Microsoft, and Microsoft literally does nothing. They don't care. Those companies just make games, and Microsoft just provides the money for the games that they make. With the only literal only rule, it's exclusive to Xbox. That's it. That's literally all Microsoft ever does. So I'm not convinced that if the deal finally goes through, that Microsoft is going to do anything to Blizzard. I think Blizzard is going to continue to make the money that they're making. They're going to continue to make the decisions that they're making. I think Blizzard is going to continue to push things like Diablo Immortal to the fore, because that's what they do. And Microsoft, all Microsoft gives a fuck about is their name should be on it as well. That's going to be interesting. I will be honest, though. Like, do you think every single time World of Warcraft cinematics come up, it's going to be Activision Blizzard and Microsoft? Are we going to see the Microsoft logo now every single time World of Warcraft cinematics load? You know, there's always in the cinematics, there's like a scene where you have like Activision Blizzard popping up, like their logo. So it's now going to be Activision Blizzard, and then the next scene is Microsoft's logo, and then we get into the cinematic. What is this? CDJ, what am I looking at here? Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader, a classic-style RPG announced by Pathfinder developer Owlcat Games. Oh. Owlcat Games has announced Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader, a classic-style RPG set in the Games Workshop Grimdark 41st Millennium setting. Do you guys want to play this when it finally launches? When it finally launches, it's probably going to be fucking very long. It is isometric. It's party-based RPG with turn-based combat. All right. No. Rogue Trader is a CRPG. Classic RPG. Which should mean no cards and shit like that. So here we have trader screenshots. Let's see. Does look good though. No, don't advertise. What the fuck? Dude. There we go. Show me a nice bit of landscape. Okay, guns and shit. Alright, like it. Marines hanging out. I don't mind that. That's machine people. Is that the Necrons? Who's the machine people again? That is the Necrons, right? So what units the Rogue Trader can recruit? Technically, they could get anyone up to Space Marines. It's probably exactly what it's going to be, right? Are these Necrons? Can't be Necrons, right? But extremely buggy on release, and the fixing can take a while. I mean, that is just gaming in a fucking nutshell, right? Dark Elder stuff. Okay. So it's turn-based combat, which I'm not necessarily against. I don't mind turn-based combat at all. We're going to do the next Lutenvid tomorrow. Sadly, today is very short stream, so we're not going to be able to do it today, but we will be doing it tomorrow, I promise. Tomorrow we're going to be reacting to the Emperor number 2. I've watched the Emperor number 1 4 times now. I just... Because I keep hearing things. Every single time I watch it again, I keep hearing things that I forgot the first time. And then I'm sort of going, oh my God, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Fuck. Dude, I love that universe. It is just disgusting how good that universe is. You should look into this French MMORPG called Dofus. It's great. But it's French, though. I don't speak French. It's in English, too. I'm trying to think if I've ever played a French game. Actually, I probably did. There's a couple of French studios. Have I ever? Can't think of it. 40k is the base. They used to collect it years ago, but just dropped it entirely to read lore now and play the occasional 40k PC game. So, okay, I have a question for you guys. Why do people not just 3D print the figurines for Warhammer 40k? Isn't that possible? Like, surely there should be, like, 3D printing models for the Warhammer 40k stuff. They do. But they weren't good enough until now? Ah. So they've gotten a lot better now. To legally do it? Yeah, well, who gives a fuck about legally, bro? I mean, whenever you say, let's 3D print something that you could technically buy, everyone is assuming that we're sailing the high seas now, right? We've moved away from land. We're on the high seas now. Let's take a quick detour and then get back to land, right? So we'll get back to land soon. I'm just sort of asking, because I've been Googling quite a lot of where I can find Warhammer figurines in South Africa, and it doesn't seem to be prevalent. Like, it really doesn't seem to be prevalent. There doesn't seem to be, like, a lot of places that I would be able to get Warhammer 40k figurines. Most places here that do sell gaming stuff sell Magic the Gathering cards, and that's usually about it. Some places, like I was at a bookstore yesterday, day before yesterday, that had 2 D&D books. And I asked them, do you have any Warhammer 40k books? And the lady literally looked as if she was about to have a fucking aneurysm. Like, Warhammer, what? And then she took me to a book, and it was the Sylvanas novel. And I was like, yeah, this is not the right war game. It's not the one I'm looking for. And she's like, that's sadly the only game book we have. I'm like, oh, I read this one. Thanks. Never mind. Fine, let's leave it. I'm clearly not getting Warhammer 40k stuff here. So yeah, I'm just sort of, I want to know if there is a place where you can find stuff like that. Piracy is the thing where I live, so some enterprising folk 3D print Warhammer figures. I guess you 3D print them and then you paint them, right? So you just need to get some paint, and then you can just paint your own figurines. Because some of those figures look fucking insane. I think Akalon would be one of them. I like Major Kill, but I do think his personality... Wait, what? What's happening? Whose personality is doing what? Anything about Mephiston yet? He's the chief librarian. I have not read anything about Mephiston yet, Swanky Tiger. Kind of a dork? We're all kind of fucking dorks, though. Guys, let's be real here. We're sitting here, 3 o'clock in the fucking afternoon, and we're talking about Warhammer 40k 3D printed models. We're all kind of dorks here. Like, none of us are the cool kids right now. The cool kids are fucking, girlfriends and boyfriends right now. They're not sitting here talking about fucking video games, right? Major Kill to the 40k lore buff on YouTube, but shorter, more lighthearted videos with a bunch of swearing. I like fucking swearing. We're on Twitch. We're dorks. Truth. We're the coolest dorks. Yeah, okay. We'll go with that one. adding 2 short videos from Tarzan the Infinite, from him around 10 minutes, since you said this is a short stream. Oh, where I don't want to skip anything right now. I'm learning about the Emperor of Man. Like, as soon as we're done with the Emperor of Man, we'll have a little bit more freedom. So I think once we're done with all of the videos for the Emperor of Man, that's when we'll watch a bunch of the smaller, shorter videos from people before we get into the next Luton sort of fucking, like, major videos. Because it doesn't seem like Luton ever does a single short video. Like, that dude seems to hit record and then stop recording like a couple of hours later. Every single time. Matsnev, which ones? So, we've only had one about the Emperor so far. And that one should be going live today, actually, I think. It should be going live today. Like, here it is. The Emperor of Man, Warhammer 40k lore, Akalon reacts to Luton 09. I will be honest though, the Bricky videos, I am fucking surprised that this is doing as well as it is. I'm not gonna lie to you. I am not gonna lie, this surprised me. I did not expect that I was gonna get 49k fucking views on a 40k video. That is nuts, dude. This one is at 90k already. Like, the first one I reacted to for Bricky, it's at 90k. You Warhammer nerds are really fucking hardcore into the Warhammer stuff. But why, though? Why is 40k such a slut for the algorithm? Or why is the algorithm such a slut for Warhammer? A few years ago, anti-Trump protests made an effigy painting Trump as the God Emperor, not knowing that his supporters will call him God Emperor Trump as a meme. Jesus. The lore is so good. It's so good. I agree with that. Sophians, they have this profession in Dofus that works kind of like enchantment. Obviously, the gear has stats, and there are runes for each stat that you obtain by grinding stuff you don't need. Then you can modify the stats of a piece of gear with that job using the runes. Runes are more or less powerful and have different weights. The enchantment might pass or not, depending on the total weights of the piece of gear. With critical strikes, you can apply a rune without using up weights. Oh, that sounds like a pretty convoluted fucking system. I think it's because Asmongold reacted to the Astartes fan animation, and there is a lot of hobby YouTubers and fan animators on YouTube. The Astartes stuff is really fucking good. We reacted to the Astartes video as well. I'm not sure if that ever got uploaded, though. Did we ever upload the Astartes? I don't think so. I don't know. I'd have to go search. There was a video that I wanted to watch, though. But I don't even fucking know if I'd find it now. Oh, this is the wrong channel. Let's just get to the right fucking channel. What the fuck? Where's Asmongold gone? Okay, here's Asmongold TV. It was an Asmongold video that I wanted to watch. Me. Here we go. Is it this one? No. I'm not sure if it's this one. I think the algorithm does 40k stuff because there's so many different types of 40k content. It gets recommended to every kind of Warhammer viewer. And it does seem like Warhammer might be one of the biggest game genres out there. Wait, when you guys say fan-made stuff is always better than official stuff, what do you mean by that? So you mean like YouTube videos, or are there fans that write books in the Warhammer universe? Are there like fans that write fan fiction within the Warhammer universe, and that's also better than any of the official stuff that they ever put out? Astartes, YouTube stuff. All right. Okay. And since it's such a big hobby, a lot of people nearly only watch Warhammer 40k content. My Noir, thanks for the first time chat, dude. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Your name literally just reminded me of The Boys. I watched The Boys for the first time last week. Started watching season 1 for the first time. Well, actually, it's not the first time. I've tried to watch The Boys multiple fucking times. Springbok, thanks for the follow, dude. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I've tried to watch The Boys multiple times. Could never get into it. Then last week, I just sat down and I was like, fuck, let me just try it. And I finished it. I've watched all 3 fucking seasons of The Boys now. I'm a little salty, though, that Soldier Boy isn't one of the good guys. That makes me a little salty, though. What I like about The Boys is the commentary that it does on modern society, showing just how shallow modern society actually is. Hey man, found you through your Warhammer content. Glad I bumped into you. Hey dude, welcome bro. Very happy to have you here. Lasuo, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Seems like a lot of people are discovering me through my Warhammer content. I'm soon going to be forced to be a Warhammer only content creator. Just because most of my viewers are going to be Warhammer viewers. Because the Warhammer content is doing much better than I ever fucking expected it to do. Primarchs are canon. Don't talk about them in one of the books. The Lost Primarchs are canon. What are your thoughts on Blizz bringing back group loot, which is essentially Master Looter back in raids? And I'm not happy. I blame Aspen for this, because this is going to bring back Ninja, ruin my experience. King Julian... Have you been drinking again? In what fucking universe is group loot the same as master loot? Literally not the same. Literally not the fucking same thing. Not even close to the same thing. In group loot, how in the fuck does anyone ninja anything from you? Everyone rolls, the game decides who got the highest roll, and the highest roll gets the item. That is literally unninjable. Now, people could roll for each other, which could fuck you over, but that's always been true in World of Warcraft. You just get all of your friends to come with you, and the personal loot gets to one of your friends, and your friends trade it to you. Same fucking thing. It's literally not the same. So I'm not entirely sure what the fuck you're on about when you blame Asmongold for bullshit that isn't even the same. And also, I have bad news for you, King Julian. This is going to make you fucking cry. They are still talking about bringing back actual master loot on top of group loot. That was literally in today's interview with Morgan Day. They're probably going to bring back actual master loot as well. So if you think your experience is going to be fucked up right now, wait till group master loot comes out. I will personally ninja a couple of items off you. Grandorius, thanks for the what's up, dude. Really appreciate that. 7 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sisters of Battle are legit though. They ride into battle in Land Raiders equipped with heavy flamers. Numatron, how you doing, brother? Besides, if you're using Asmon as our barrier for entry, even without master loot, he is going to get all those items. Don't worry, people will still hop on in when you talk about the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything, simply because there isn't that many channels that talk about that. Biscuit, I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to know that it's one of the reasons I try to make the streams as wide as possible about as many things as possible. I don't want to be a content creator that is just known for one thing. I couldn't give two fucks about that. I want to talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. I want to watch whatever the fuck I want to watch. I want to play whatever the fuck I want to play. And if someone comes to the stream expecting me to do just one thing, they're gonna be disappointed. And that's okay. I can't keep everyone happy, but I can keep myself happy. So I'll do what I like, and hopefully there's other people that like what I like. Problem, as long as they make it only personal loot. Yeah, no one wants personal loot, King Julian. Dark Millennium, that got cancelled. There's still a teaser trailer of the game on YouTube. If you're interested to see what we could have gotten, was made by THQ. Whoa, Warhammer 40k Dark Millennium. Dude, the biggest fuck up though in World of Warcraft's history was when Blizzard wanted to make the the Warhammer MMO, and Games Workshop said, no, we'll go with someone else because we think they're better. And Blizzard ended up making World of Warcraft. And what's happening to Age of Reckoning right now? Does anyone know? Does that game even exist still? Lol. Like, seriously, bro. It was a bad call. It was a fucking bad call. Can you imagine if Blizzard actually made Warhammer? Swanky, from what I understand, Blizzard was actually willing to pay the $1 million. It was Games Workshop that decided no. And one went on to become a cultural phenomena, changing MMOs forever, and the other is barely mentioned when you talk about MMOs. Of course, Apocalypse plays it, or have played it, but also I'm actually not that sad, because it was set in fantasy, and if you're comparing fantasy to 40k, is there really any comparison between the two? Like, I've watched 2 videos, I think, so far of the fantasy universe, and it does not grip me the same way that the 40k universe does. Johnny Too Cool, thanks for the 2 months up. Did really appreciate that. 3 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are far too kind with all the fucking subs. Keep giving me the cash. I like it. I fucking like it. 40k is better, but there is Age of Sigmar and the old fantasy version. In comparison to the Demons and the Warp. Ogrim, how you doing, bro? Warcraft 1 was supposed to be a Warhammer game too. Yep. Bro, watch the rest of the fantasy stuff. I linked and you will change your mind. I doubt I will change my mind. Apocalypse. I don't... So, in general, I prefer sci-fi to fantasy. So, it's going to be difficult for fantasy to beat anything that is sci-fi, and 40k is sci-fi. What about you, chat? What do you prefer in terms of all games and all universes? Do you prefer sci-fi or do you prefer fantasy? What is Shadowrun MMO? You prefer fantasy? Matt prefers sci-fi? Even split? But so I will voicey. The thing is, when it comes to playing, the only reason I prefer fantasy when it comes to playing to sci-fi is there really isn't a lot of good sci-fi games out there. But you know, even if we're gonna go light sci-fi, Cyberpunk 2077 is a phenomenal game. And I fucking love that game. Mass Effect, phenomenal. One of my favorite RPGs of all time. So I would argue playing is the only reason I prefer fantasy is a lot more. There are a lot more good fantasy RPGs out there than what there are sci-fi RPGs out there. Sci-fi RPGs can oftentimes be incredibly hit and miss, which I fucking love. There is a poll, by the way, so let's see. Let's see what you guys are voting for. Right now, fantasy is kicking sci-fi's fucking ass in the poll. Llewellyn, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Coulter, over everything. But if they actually bring Master Looter back, Akko, I just won't raid because I like it the way it is now. Because at least with personal loot, I can't be ninja'd, and not true. I do, Akko. I like personal loot. Fuck Master Loot. King Julian, then, you know, I'm sure Blizzard is going to cry that you're not going to be raiding in World of Warcraft. You know, let's ignore the fact that you can literally just not join a group that has Master Looter on. Let's ignore the fact that it is an actual toggle. But, you know, yeah, apart from that, sure. Just don't raid if they include it into the game. Llewellyn, you bastard. Thanks for the deals up. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the most degenerate chat on Twitch. Holy cunt. Robotic, did you just gift 50 fucking subs? Whoa. Bro. That's a lot. Thank you. Jesus. Can I get some hearts in chat? Come on, you fucking assholes. There's 50 of you that now have subs. I better see some hearts. Like, let's get some thank yous out there. Robotic, your credit card company is gonna fucking call you this month. They're gonna be like, what the fuck happened? Because I'm pretty sure that's 100. I think you're close to 100 gifted subs for the month right now. Of course you should be worrying about that, King Julian. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But Robotic Unicorn, I really, really fucking appreciate the subs. 111 subs for the month. That is fucking Chad mode. 100%. Really appreciate the subs. Sci-fi WoW. CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk. Do we consider Cyberpunk to be sci-fi though? Akalon is worth it, period. I am worth it. L'Oreal, treat yourself. I'm not gonna fucking argue. If you guys want to give me money, I will take that cash. Even though I am always very surprised at the fact that people are willing to give me money, especially 111 fucking subs in a single month. That is madness. That's fucking madness. It is L'Oreal, which is the company that said you're worth it. And then it's L'Oreal. It's not Revlon, right? Revlon is bankrupt now. What did Revlon used to say? Man, I remember the TV ads. It has to be L'Oreal. You're worth it. Someone had that catchphrase for a while. Space opera, duh. Okay, so if Cyberpunk is sci-fi, I would say Cyberpunk is a really good sci-fi game. BioWare, obviously, but you said besides BioWare. I want to say... what's the game called? Fuck, what's the game called? Halo, Doom, also sci-fi. Live Boldly. There we go. Surface. Revlon is Live Boldly. Thank you. Deus Ex. That's an one. Deus Ex. Star Wars. Some of the Star Wars games are really fucking good. But again, a lot of the Star Wars games is BioWare, so probably doesn't count. What else? Death Stranding, another sci-fi game, absolutely fucking phenomenal by Kojima. Metal Gear, wow. Is Metal Gear Solid sci-fi? Would you guys class Metal Gear Solid as sci-fi? Because if it is, then that's also fucking brilliant, right? Yeah, I would say maybe 50-50. Well, it is science fiction. There is a lot of sciencey stuff in Metal Gear Solid. So yeah, that's also sci-fi. Is there a way to toss you a 40k Dark Millennium YouTube link? Mads, yes, you can link stuff on Discord. So in Discord, in the content suggestions, just link whatever you want me to react to, and I can do that. Oh wow, Preach and Zepla did indeed get the alpha. Preach got alpha now? Is Preach going to be playing? Did Preach make a video saying that he's gonna... Oh, that... He got alpha? Dude, what the fuck? What's Preach... What's... Preach's name again? Like on YouTube, what's his fucking name again? There we go, LFW. I could have just said Preach Gaming. What the fuck am I doing? He doesn't have any videos saying that he did get alpha access. So, yeah. I'm going to have to wait for that. Fallout games would also be sci-fi. But do we want to put Bethesda on the list of good fucking games, though? I wonder if Racco's interested in Preach's alpha drama. I can send you one interesting thread. Too bored, yeah. Dude, it's drama. I am always interested in drama. Always. You do not need to ask. I don't care what fucking drama it is. If it's drama, I want in. I want to be a part of it. I want to feel like I belong too. You know? Standard Hamster, thanks for the tip. What's up? Did really appreciate that. 10 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Zepla said it yesterday that she was approached by someone from WoW to play Alpha. Okay, for Zepla... I can see that, I guess. But then again, Zepla has been away from World of Warcraft for a really long time. So I don't think they mind Zepla so much. Preach, on the other hand, they've made it very clear they do not like him. See Preach in the Alpha on Twitter and Preach at XX. See you soon. All right, maybe Preach did get in. You know, we can only hope. It would be nice if he did. But Preach, no, Voicey, Preach would return for the alpha to test it out, and there's nothing wrong with Preach returning for the alpha to test it out. I don't know if Preach. So here's the thing: I don't think Preach will ever return as a full-fledged World of Warcraft content creator because he doesn't have to. His Final Fantasy content is doing incredibly well. Most of his random content is doing incredibly well. He really doesn't want... So this is drama. Hold up, let's hear. Preach explains why he's not getting the alpha.
I do not have Dragonflight Alpha. Big surprise. Big surprise. I do not have Dragonflight Alpha. And I will say this, as much as I was expecting not to get Dragonflight Alpha, as much as I had been warned by somebody at Blizzard that when I made my video that I was not going to cover World of Warcraft on a regular basis anymore, that they were pissed at me.
I still believe, by the way, that that is the biggest amount of childish bullshit ever. It is just so fucking childish to be like, oh, you won't cover our game anymore? Well, fuck you. It's like, what? Like, dudes, you guys fucked up. Like, you made the game shit. What, we are just supposed to keep playing so that we don't piss you off? Like, no. Your game is shit. Fix your game, and then we'll come back. That is just such a bitch move, dude. That is literally that. You break up with your girlfriend and then she burns the fucking house down. That's that kind of move. It's like, what the fuck? Take it a command, bro. Just leave.
And a bit salty about that.
Surface, so to put this into perspective, maybe, just to kind of explain from my opinion, or from my perspective, of course, I wouldn't know, because I'm not, I love Preach's content, but I'm not friends with Preach. I've never actually had a conversation with Preach. So I can't speak for him or on his behalf. I can only speak from what I can sort of figure out reading between the lines and stuff. But it is my understanding that Preach was kind of Blizzard's favorite son. You know, it's one of the reasons why Ian Azikostas spoke to Preach in a first ever, no-holds-barred, non-interview setting. You know, Ian showed up, Preach and Ian had a conversation, so Blizzard sort of felt like Preach would always just be there, and Preach would always just be sort of there for everything. So when Preach made his video saying that he is done, and highlighting all of the things that's bad and horrible in World of Warcraft, I think there are people at Blizzard that took that very personally. They felt personally attacked by the fact that that Preach spoke out against them in the way that that he did. And I think also it needs to be said, a lot of content creators, so Asmongold, for example, Asmongold made it clear that he's unhappy with World of Warcraft, but never said that he's never going to play World of Warcraft again, right? Asmongold, in fact, still fucking plays World of Warcraft to this day. So he talks crap about WoW, but he never said that he's done with WoW, or that he's never going to play WoW anymore, or that he's never going to talk about WoW anymore. Preach is kind of one of the few content creators that didn't just come out crapping on World of Warcraft. He came out and he said, I am done with World of Warcraft. I will not cover World of Warcraft any longer. I'm moving on. I'm going to go play other games. I'm going to reach into other content. And I think that is what they took a real issue with. It's not so much that he shat on World of Warcraft. It's the fact that he walked away from it. That's the thing that pissed him off. Somebody said he was done making daily content. He kept playing off stream. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? If you're done making... So you have to understand, content is advertisement. That's how companies view content, right? Whenever I make a video about World of Warcraft, I'm advertising World of Warcraft. So if I announce tomorrow that I'm done making World of Warcraft, of course, Blizzard wouldn't give two fucks. Most people at Blizzard would probably be like, who? But let's imagine I was a big fucking content creator like Preach. If I announce that I'm done making daily content about World of Warcraft, that's a lot of free advertisement just lost. And what was more, and I think this is the thing that really pissed them off, Monkstein, you bastard, with the 5 community subs. Really appreciate that. Hearts in chat, ladies and gentlemen. 5 community subs. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What's more is Preach didn't just leave World of Warcraft. Preach left World of Warcraft and then started playing the competitor. Like, Preach was part of the reason that so many people left WoW and went to go play Final Fantasy, right? And I think that's the thing that really fucking got Blizzard. The fact that, first and foremost, he's no longer making content every day, and then he also fucking went and he started making content about Final Fantasy, leading people away from the fucking game, right? So it was sort of the dual idea around that, I think, just rubbed them the wrong way. Yeah, but again, Asmongold never made a video saying he's done with World of Warcraft. Asmongold just shit-talked World of Warcraft, but still played it. So it is sort of like maybe that coalescence of things is what led to it. So let's see. Taulier, what does Taulier have to say? Honestly, it's an ego thing, right? He could care less about covering WoW, but like any other creator, he just wants to say he has it. Because that would show him that Blizzard cares. But check this, they don't care. You can't just make a declaration of not covering WoW, more like I will only cover Cover it when it gets me those launch views, and then expect to still be in the in crowd. I am sure he will get his invite soon after this video or next wave, but yeah, you can tell he was trying hard not to show he doesn't care, but he 100% does. If I didn't get Alpha, I'd be the same, so would Asmon or Max or Sloot. Tali, yeah, I mean, of course, it's an ego thing. But it's also a little bit of a fucking... I have dedicated the better part of my life online to this game, and they turn around and they don't give a fuck. So there's a little bit more to it, I think. And yeah, it is also funny that Tali got, like, massively downvoted on this, right? Tali's got minus out of the 77 karma off of this, which is definitely not good. But... While you're posting like some fat angry teen on LSF, Jesus. It's really scummy that you'd say he'll only go back for launch views. I do have to agree, actually. The one thing that I don't like about what Tali said here is that Tali sort of played into the one thing that a lot of people that don't have a fucking clue about what YouTubers do constantly use as an example against YouTubers. The sort of, oh, you're just looking for the fucking clicks. You're just looking for the fucking clicks. It's saying, oh my fucking God, there's nothing that annoys me more than people that say, oh my God, you're just looking. Because you have to think this through, right? It's on the surface, it's just a fucking sentence. But it's actually not just a sentence. In your sentence, you are also calling me a liar. Because you're saying I'm dishonest. I don't actually believe the things that I'm saying. I'm saying them purely because I want the clicks. So it is an incredible insult. And then usually people will be like, dude, why are you mad, bro? When you do get mad. Why are you mad, bro? And it's like, I don't know. Maybe because you called me a fucking liar with literally zero evidence to back up the claim that I'm a fucking liar. Go on, bro. Preach, Balila, and Asmon were forming WoW hate views for months. Afterlife, in what universe? So, farming hate views for months. What do you mean?
To make him start playing 14, and Zeppala got an alpha key. So did Quasi-I, which he has a published video of him deleting every single one of his characters and unsubbing.
Mike Duran, thanks for the 50, dude. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people that left, right? The idea, it's... Okay, it fucking annoys me when people use the thing hate views. Because, again, it goes to this, you are without proof, without fucking evidence, you are suggesting that a content creator is acting with, like, zero integrity. Because according to you, they don't actually believe the negative shit that they're saying about World of Warcraft. They're simply saying the negative shit because it gets them views. I promise you, neither Balula, Asmongold, or Preach are good enough actors to actually fucking pull that off. They're not good enough actors. If you say something that you don't actually believe, your community will figure that out. They will very quickly be like, this feels awkward. This feels weird. Because you're saying something that you don't believe yourself. So calling it farming hate views, in my opinion, is incredibly disingenuous. And it's not really something that you can say and then expect an argument or a debate to follow as a result of that. It's just weird, in my opinion.
In North America, got gifted a subscription from Robotic Unicorn. Have a pleasant day. Good health and success throughout the summer.
Barg Beklimmen, thank you very much for the first time chat. Did really appreciate it. Also for the 200 bits. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I also have to say, Truffle Shuffle Gaming for the 2 months up, 18 months in a row, and Robotic Unicorn Tier 2, 11 months in a row. It is one more month than year for a year, Robotic. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What is this? Preach an Alpha. I think the guy's content is boring, but he really knows the ins and outs of MMOs, and wow, please give him an invite. What a fucking moronic Why do you start off? Dude, the WoW community are fucking stupid, bro. Like, beyond brain dead fucking stupid. I think the guy's content is boring. What does that have to do with anything? Why say that? Do you want to make sure that all of your friends know that you really don't like Preach? Why is that an important distinction to fucking make? I'll show you guys what I'm talking about here, because this is actually... I hope I can find this, because it actually fucking pissed me off as well. It's a retweet on one of my tweets. For the love of fuck. Where is it again? Am I actually going to be able to find it? How long ago was this? I'm trying to remember now. Couldn't have been an hour ago. Could it have been? It could actually have been an hour ago. Never mind. Let's keep going for a bit longer. I really want to show you guys this. Here we go. So look at Neek here. Our friend Neek, the brain dead fuck. I agree with this guy on virtually nothing. But this point is legit. Why say that? How does that add anything? Except, of course, for trying to show the... How many friends does Neek have? The 84 friends that Neek has, right? How many... Like, he's trying to show the 84 friends that he has that, hey, by the way, I still hate this guy for no fucking reason whatsoever. I'm still brain dead. But this is actually a good point. And I do think that this is an absolutely incredible point. It goes to the Preach and Alpha thing here. You don't have to fucking start with, I think the guy's content is boring. Just fucking start with, look, I think Preach deserves an invite to the Alpha because he really knows what the fuck he's talking about. It's 84 more than me? Oh. Well, I didn't know that. That's interesting. I'm pretty sure 3,320 is more than 84, King Julian. But never mind. We'll stick with that. Right? No one who spent the last 1.5 years bashing WoW should get an invite to Alpha or Beta. Alright, Blitzband is a fucking moron. Either Crab, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the tip. What's up? Really appreciate that. 4 months in a row. Coronas, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate it. Blizzband, you're fucking stupid, bro. Like, the people that you won't... Like, Alpha Beta is not some nice thing, right? It's not supposed to be Blizzard rubbing your balls, giving you a little bit of a fucking cocksuck. Alpha Beta is supposed to be... If we're going to allow it in the game, it's supposed to be the place where you make the game good to ensure that the game is actually good when it fucking launches. The people that you want in the Alpha Beta are the people that spent the last 1.5 years bashing, wow, you stupid fucking moron. Oh my god. I bash it. I still play as bashes it and got an invite. I would argue people who criticize it are better people to have. Nar, thank you. Fucking hell. I almost for a moment there thought that this entire thing was going to be full of stupid people. No, he should keep to his last stance. I personally don't want to see him back here again. God, dude, WoW people. This is why I say the WoW community is just filled with fucking morons. It is the stupidest people on the planet that play World of Warcraft. Not all, because I used to play World of Warcraft and I'm clearly not that fucking stupid, but some. A good fucking majority, especially the ones hanging out on Twitter and the ones a lot of the time on the forums. Your game is in desperate need of fixing. So maybe, just maybe, it's time to get out of your fucking cocksuck bubble and realize that your game could use a bit of fresh fucking perspective, right? Kind of like your life. It might be time to realize that the people that you meet in video games aren't your friends. Like, whenever you're running in Stormwind and the guards say, "Oh, champion," that's not your friend. You can't say to people, "I have a friend," and then fucking reference the guard in Stormwind, you stupid cunt. You have to step outside, get a bit of fucking fresh air every once in a while. Oh my god. Dude, I need to not cover this. I really need to not talk about this. These people are driving me fucking mental. Ninja Bears, thank you so much for the update. Really appreciate that. 32 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Social media friends, these people are stupid. Preach said he could no longer cover or support Blizzard or World of Warcraft. Okay. Why would they give him an alpha invite after that? Not to mention the whole snafu where he told his community how to cheat the leveling system by overstacking potions. Dude, the WoW morons take things so fucking seriously. It's such a personal thing for them. Like, if you say anything bad about World of Warcraft, it's a personal attack to them, you know? They feel personally attacked by the fact that you did things like this. And they never forget. Dude, Bobby Kotick is laughing his fucking balls off. Why? Because peasants are doing it for free. I actually retweeted someone that made this point better than I could ever fucking make it. Oh yeah, here we go. So Mugata tweeted out no. So this was in response to me saying, "Dear Blizzard, please stop spoiling World of Warcraft in the PTR and Alpha Beta." Mugata said no. They need to fix the problem before release this time. More eyes, more fixes. Avoiding spoilers is the responsibility of the individual. You can't expect the whole world to warp around what you prefer. And I thought I'd say it, you know? That feeling when the peasants start a union to demand no pay for work. Because that's exactly what this is. Somehow, I don't know how Blizzard did it, but somehow Blizzard managed to convince the WoW player base that they should game test World of Warcraft for absolute fucking free. And that they should defend their right for game testing. By the way, game testing is a pretty decent fucking job. There are people that get paid quite a lot of money to test video games. That's what QA stands for, quality assurance. That's what QA testers do. There's an entire career around QA testing. WoW players are the only fucking morons in the world that go, no, I don't think I will get paid for this. I'll do it for free. Not to be that guy, but if it doesn't need alpha or beta, they playtest everything in-house, which is how it should be done, right? Underpaying QA can backfire badly, so everyone paid greatly. QA used to be quite forgotten, but there are a lot of companies that actually pay QA staff really well. It is just testers have the Herculean task of tasting the news at writing. Yeah, that is sadly true. Oh, I fucking saw that, Pomero. I saw that, actually. Did you guys see that? Like, you can get beta access to Diablo 4 if you get a tattoo of Diablo 4. I'm not sure how... Like, should I be morally outraged by that? Should I be morally neutral? Like... I'm not entirely sure how I'm supposed to feel, but I don't know if I feel well about it, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not quite sure. Better access in a digital version release? Llewellyn, the issue with the community, so the World of Warcraft community... And I need to preface this by saying it's not the whole community. Nowhere near the whole community. Because the majority of the community do not hang out on Twitter. The majority of World of Warcraft players they probably never even have installed Twitter. So they have no idea about any of this. They don't go onto the forums. They don't watch YouTube videos. They just play the game. They just have fun. The people that you want to stay away from for the most part. If there is, and I'll be very honest about this, League of Legends community has fuck all on the WoW community when it comes to toxicity. Fucking nothing. The WoW community is by far the most toxic and gate-kept community in the fucking world of gaming anywhere, ever. They do not allow you to do anything unless it is confirmed and also supported by the Hive Mind. The Hive Mind, of course, is somewhere on Twitter, no one really knows, but every WoW community member basically believes the exact same thing and tweets it out all the fucking time. No, I enjoy Twitter. I mean, it is only on Twitter that I get to tweet things like this. Better by buying a watch pack? Yeah, well, I don't know. I haven't looked into the story enough to actually have an opinion on it. Do you call it Twitter, Sir Manchaco? But it is Twitter. For me, Twitter is the lowest of all social places in this universe. I do agree with that. Do you see the replies in Mr. GM's tweet about Preach? No, I have not. Silver Coppin. What are the replies? How do we deal with the heat wave in the UK? We eat ice cream, apparently. Jesus. Those are some day shots. I really want to Preach Gaming to get Dragonflight Alpha so I can hear his thoughts on it. Oh, buddy, you've done it now. See you on the other side. I'm so angry about this, to be honest. I've seen a lot of quotes he never said in regards to covering WoW in the future. I think it's important to get feedback and thoughts from all kinds of former current WoW players. Same, I think that is the biggest advertisement WoW can get. True, Dennis. Dennis is actually pretty fucking spot on here. J-Dub, by the way. J-Dub is a fucking moron. I've dealt with J-Dub a number of times in my own replies. J-Dub is one of those people that they don't follow you because they don't want to make it official, but they fucking bookmark everything you say just so that they can also have a shitty opinion. J-Dub is well known to me. And also, I mean, it should not come as a surprise to you that he is fucking moronic. I have no desire to hear he's manufactured outrage anymore. Sure, that's what it is, J-Dub. It's players like this, by the way, that makes me sometimes wish that I could, wish that WoW could kind of not die, but kind of die. Because I want a player like J-Dub to realize that if only he paid attention to the criticisms, his game would still be alive. So, because I don't want WoW to die, because I do actually still want to play WoW, but at the same time, I want people like J-Dub to not be a fucking moron anymore. But then again, J-Dub will probably just blame us for complaining about the game so much. I don't think he will actually realize that he's a fucking moron. So Super Fine Alpha, pretty sure you're going to hear his thoughts on it, whether or not he has alpha. He should get it. There should not even be a discussion. Matt is on point there. The internet explodes for every little thing and no one is allowed to have their own opinion anymore. Anyone can change their mind. It's not set in stone and it happens to everyone, everywhere, all the time. I love Preach and he is a fun guy to watch and made the world race epic. Maybe he gets invited with the next wave this week, but honestly, I only respect his opinion on systems. When he talks about rating and high-end content and lots of other stuff, I mostly didn't like his opinion. I'm a casual gamer and I want to have stuff I can do. Ergo, you fucking... Oh my... You're a casual gamer, you want things to do, and Preach is literally preaching about the things that you need to be able to do. What the fuck? Oh my god, dude. World of Warcraft players are truly fucking moronic. I prefer a review from a critic of the game instead of from a deadly loyal fan. Kind of psycho behavior. Oh, but this is the thing that you have to remember about World of Warcraft. They do not want people to criticize their game ever. You are not allowed to criticize World of Warcraft. The WoW community will fucking eat your heart. You do not criticize their fucking game. period. And if you do criticize their game, it has to be constructive. Now, they're too stupid to know what constructive means. They don't know what it means. So basically, you have to understand constructive in the narrative of a 4-year-old, which is what most WoW players mentally are. This means you have to say more positive things about the game than you do negative things. So, for example, if you were to say, hey, World of Warcraft has quite a number of systems that make the game really boring, but the graphics are beautiful, the music is beautiful, I love the atmosphere, the dailies are really well done, even if you don't believe it. But now your fight isn't with dailies, your fight right now is with Torghast, for example. So you're going to pick dailies as a really good thing, just because if you don't, the WoW community will fucking wreck your shit. You have to be constructive. Constructive means positive things first, negative things last, and also less negative than positive. Which, of course, it doesn't. Anyone with half a brain knows that's not what constructive criticism is. But according to the WoW community, that's exactly what it is. The WoW community is a fucking joke. Got in the game and gave opinions on how to fix it. That's literally what constructive is. But Hyper Titan, don't be rational here. There's no place for rationality. We're talking about World of Warcraft right now. I think I just need to make one thing clear. I am not talking about the average WoW player. I'm not talking about the majority of WoW players. I am talking specifically about the WoW player that hangs out on Twitter. I'm talking specifically about a lot of the WoW players that hang out on YouTube. A lot of the WoW players that hang out on the forums. These people are so caught up in their own bubbles that they smell the farts and think it's fucking roses. To the community, I am sorry for what I did back then. I must do better. I will do better. Now he holds a lot of blame for why the endgame has been in the state that it's in since BFA. Him and people like him blew smoke up the devs' backsides, and we all paid the price. He should stay gone. What the... what? Dude. Oh. What? I think Breach is being incredibly sarcastic, but this is literally rewriting reality. Like, this guy is literally just fucking rewriting reality here. Just going like, yeah, let's just make something up that doesn't even fucking exist. Didn't get into it with the WoW devs around PFA launch because of the cash change. It isn't your responsibility to make WoW good. You are an entertainer trying to earn a living and not a reporter or a critic. You're not a game dev. You're a guy trying to make a career off of playing video games, and you shouldn't get wrapped up in the hype. You're just a guy. The hell? If anything, your feedback made the game better, not worse. I hate it when you made covenants for Shadowlands. Disgusting. This guy tried to make Preach into the I made this meme. Yeah, pretty much. No, Mike and Aspen need to stay gone. They claim they were done with Blizzard, so stay done. Don't come crawling back. Actually, Zachary's Asmongold never fucking claimed to be done with WoW. Again, one of those just moronic... Dude, this is... Do we have people in chat that don't actually play World of Warcraft? If you're looking at this from the outside, right, and all of the tweets and stuff that we've gone through so far today, what is your takeaway? What is it that you feel about the WoW community as we go through this? It feels like a cult. I'm going to be honest with you. It feels like a cult. Matt, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Babies. True. Most of them do not know Preach's past history with WoW. Tubo, that is true. But the thing that gets me, it's cult-like behavior, right? It is the kind of behavior where if you say anything negative, you're no longer part of the group, and we will attack you now because you've said negative things about our game. If you left our game, you're no longer allowed back because, well, you're either with us or you're against us. The WoW community feels like a fucking cult. It is insane to me. And I don't think it's just WoW. I'm pretty sure Final Fantasy have their cult-like members as well. It is so fucking unhealthy, and I don't know when this happened. At what point did society reach this level of narcissistic, cult-like sort of embrace where everything becomes the cult? Everything becomes this us versus them mentality. I see articles of kids writing off their parents because their parents happen to vote Republican. I see husbands and wives breaking up because the husband voted for Trump and the wife voted for fucking Clinton or for Biden or whatever the case might be. And I think to myself, when you married this person, they were the thing that you loved. And the thing that they were that you loved made them vote for Trump. Regardless of what that thing might be, I don't care. But the fact that they voted for Trump is enough, in your opinion, to end a marriage. And we're talking, in some cases, marriages upwards of a decade. The people were married and then just get divorced because fuck you, how dare you. Regardless of your feelings about, like, fucking Trump, is that a legitimate reason to get divorced? Is that a legitimate reason to just write off family members because how dare they vote for the wrong party? And now we're doing it with video games. If you say anything negative about a video game, you're instantly attacked by the hive mind that can't believe that you dare attack their game, that you dare say something bad about their game. When did society become this? At what point did this happen in society? And at what point did we decide this is a good fucking healthy way to be? Surface, I agree with that. Bobby Kuntik is the entity that Zuval is scared of. Robotic, I would not be surprised. I know that human beings have always been tribal, but we've also always had this ability to understand differing opinions, at least in modern era. We preached that you should be able to see someone else's perspective, even if it's not your own. And that seems to have been completely fucking thrown out the window. That seems to have just become an absolute mess of a thing, where everyone wants to fucking cancel everyone. Everyone seems to... So Nick here says, hey, let's use my clout to name and shame specific players from the community for an offshoot comment they made that wasn't harmful to anyone. It was a lie, Nick, you fucking moron. Mighty, thanks for the 50, dude. Really appreciate that.
Video on why WoW won't do red letters in the FF style. It is an interesting take. I'd like to know your opinion on it.
Oh, I haven't. Link it, Mighty Random? I mean, what the fuck, Nick? It is mature of Mike. The guy was literally lying about Mike in his response to Mike. So I don't think Mike is wrong to have done that. But yeah, you know what? I don't even like. I don't want to continue covering this. I'm fucking bored of it now. I think Preach should have alpha access. I think Blizzard is making a massive mistake not giving Preach alpha access, because I would argue the people that you want to have alpha access are the people that hate your game. Because if you can convince those people that your game is good, can you imagine if Preach played alpha and actually came out with a video saying, guys, okay, I've played alpha, it is fucking brilliant. Can you imagine what that does for people that are on the fence right now about whether or not they like World of Warcraft? Can you imagine what that does for a massive group of the community that right now is very cold, sort of not even lukewarm, cold on what World of Warcraft is? It is. It's literally the one person. Like, you could have left out every other content creator and just give Preach access to alpha, because that would have actually carried a fuck ton of weight. It is just weird. It is just very, very fucking weird. By the way, if you guys want to link stuff and you're not subbed to the channel, don't worry. You're not forced to sub to the channel. Just link it on Discord. That way, you know, we can sort of check the link beforehand to make sure that it's the right link.
Content suggestions on the Discord server.
Thank you. Thank you, Mighty Random. See, content suggestions here. You want me to react? Jesus, there's so many 40k videos here. All right. I have about an hour left, less than an hour, a little bit less than an hour. So let's react to this video quickly.
I'd love to.
Oof, this is going to be a long one. 26 minutes, so you guys strap in. We're going to be here for 2 hours. It's about an hour for every 10 minutes of video. That's how one of the Akalon's reactions work. So strap the fuck in. You're indeed forced to sub, otherwise the Omnisire will shut you down. Okay, so let's quickly see here. Retaliation. Why WoW can't have nice things like Final Fantasy, the class tuning problem.
See the WoW devs do their own version of 14's live letters on a regular basis. Not just 10-minute video on the new patch, but a proper deep dive into stuff for an hour or two. I think one of the reasons that doesn't happen, and it shows the kind of the difference between Final Fantasy XIV and WoW. I still maintain that, honestly, the biggest fundamental difference between Final Fantasy XIV and WoW is not even the way that Final Fantasy XIV focuses storytelling. The main difference between Final Fantasy XIV and WoW, honestly, is that Final Fantasy XIV, their classes are complete standard. Everyone who's playing Dragoon is playing the same Dragoon. Like, the only difference is gear, and gear doesn't affect any of your abilities apart from stats. Whereas in WoW, we have this liking and this insistence on being able to modify and variety and change up what our characters actually do with talent trees and gear that gives special effects and trinkets that give us new abilities, essentially. And what that does is it creates a much more difficult balancing issue. Like, it's so much harder.
But I'm not... Wait... How did we get from I would like to see a live letter in the style of Final Fantasy but done by World of Warcraft? How is this I'm not sure how that is a retort to that statement. Because I do agree with everything that Taliesin is saying here. I'm just not entirely sure yet how this links. But okay, let's see.
Harder to balance WoW than it is Final Fantasy XIV.
Wait. What the fuck is this? Like, alpha beta is not some nice thing, right? It's not supposed to be Blizzard rubbing your balls, giving you a little bit of a fucking cocksuck. Alpha beta is supposed to be, if we're going to allow it in the game, it's supposed to be the place where you make the game good to ensure that the game is actually good when it fucking launches. The people that you want in the alpha beta are the people that spent the last year and a half bashing. Dude, I have so many good points.
Moron.
Oh my god!
Holy Jesus! I have so
bashed
many
it, I
good
still
points.
play as bashes it and got an invite. I would argue
This
people
is
who
like literally
criticize it are
100%
better people to have-
fucking mega intelligence right there, bro.
Nar, thank you. Fucking hell. I almost for a moment there thought that this entire thing was going to be full of stupid people. Like, alpha beta is not some nice thing.
I'll
right?
tweet
It's
this
not
out. Thank you very much
supposed
for
to be
clipping it.
Blizzard.
I really appreciate that. I'll fucking tweet that out. There we go. There comes the weasel. All right, so far I agree with Taliesin, but I do want to say also I would love to see live letters. And it's not even live letters that I want to see. I want to see the style of live letter. I want to see Ian Azikostas get up in front of a fucking PC and actually live. And when I say actually live, I mean actually live. Not one of those pre-recorded that they pretend is live, like they did with the Dragonflight announcement, where everyone can see that it's pre-recorded. And at one point, it's Ian sitting there, and next to him is, what's his name again? John Haidt, the executive producer for World of Warcraft, right? He sits next to him and he goes, yeah, I was just seeing chat and people were really excited for this. And it's like, bro, what are you talking about? At the point where you were recording this, there was no chat. Shut the fuck up trying to pretend like this is live. You weren't looking at chat. What are you talking about? You were looking at chat. Like, what the fuck, bro? So, yeah, I would like to see them actually sit there live and actually look at fucking chat. Like, actually pay attention to chat. Because that's what Yoshi P does during the live letters. If someone writes stuff in chat, Yoshi P will actually respond to things that chat is saying. That makes it fun. That makes it real. It means something.
But it means that even more than that, a lot more of the conversation around WoW is always about class balance and, you know, class sets and anything that affects that balance, like gear and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And that's a conversation that just doesn't exist in anywhere near the same degree with Final Fantasy XIV. So Yoshi and his buddies can do a live letter and know that they are going to be able to talk about just shit that they want to talk about, and the conversation isn't just going to always go back to class balance. Whereas we saw in like Josh and Ian's dev interviews that they used to do, that always used to happen. You get a few questions out, but if they didn't talk for like half an hour about class balance and why this bit of class balance isn't working and what are their plans to fix this bit of class balance and do you know that this 4-piece isn't working and blah, blah, blah. If they didn't spend most of the Q&A talking about that, then you get people going, oh, they were just dodging questions. They were cherry picking questions and they clearly didn't want to talk about class balance. But then...
Okay, I agree with Taliesin, but I think him and I are going to arrive at very different points. He is saying that because of how World of Warcraft is designed, basically because of how the classes in World of Warcraft is designed, insofar as you get to choose, and class design is very much a lot more intricate than what you get in Final Fantasy. This means that that's the whole conversation, is around class design. I would argue no. The reason that is the whole conversation is, for those of you that's never played World of Warcraft, allow me to explain to you what the end game loop. Now remember that World of Warcraft is a game that is designed for the end game. The end game loop in World of Warcraft is the following. Pay attention because it's really short. Actually, you don't even have to pay attention. It's really short. You can either do Mythic Plus. These are dungeons that scale up in difficulty. There's 8 of them. You can do them as many times as you want. Or you can do the raid. There's 1 raid at a time, and there are 3 difficulties that you would want to do. A 4th one if you want to do Alifar, but 3 that you could do, right, if you wanted to. Or you could do Battlegrounds, or you could do Arenas. These are your PvP options. Or you can do all of the dungeons and the raids from the older expansions. But you're still doing dungeons and raids, but these are the older ones to collect mounts, pets, and the rest. That is the end game loop in World of Warcraft. You might be saying to yourself here, but Aklon, what if I like adventuring? Well, tough. There's no adventure in World of Warcraft. The whole point is you open the menu, you click on the thing in the menu that you want to do, you sign up and you go do the thing on the menu. I guess there's adventure if you want to hunt for things, so you collect stuff. That's a little bit of adventure because you kind of have to run back to the old dungeons. They're removed from the menu. So you have to fly to the old dungeons, but then there you go into the dungeon, you do your thing. There's no housing in World of Warcraft. There is no deep dungeons, really, in World of Warcraft. There's no islands in World of Warcraft like you now have with Final Fantasy, or will soon have with Final Fantasy. The endgame loop in World of Warcraft is effectively built around systems where class design and class balance is everything. Because there is no system in World of Warcraft that doesn't desperately depend on the balance of classes. All of the endgame systems in World of Warcraft literally exist only if the classes are balanced. If the classes are broken, those systems don't really exist because people don't want to do them. So I would agree with Taliesin's premise. I think his conclusion is wrong. Because he concludes at the end of this that we can't have live letters because, well, class design is too difficult. No, we can't have live letters because the game's design puts all of the onus on class design. So, yeah, we would probably disagree there.
And if you do just talk about class balance the whole time, like, that's incredibly boring and dull. So I feel like, you know, there's greater scope to have live letters with Yoshi and Final Fantasy XIV, because the conversation doesn't always come back to class balance like it does with WoW. And that's not because Final Fantasy XIV devs are awesome at class balance and WoW devs aren't. It's because WoW, like, balancing WoW is literally like 200 times harder than balancing Final Fantasy XIV. I remember them talking about the Demonology Warlock in, I think it was at the end of WoD, and how it low-key sounded like, yeah, don't play that. It wasn't low-key, it was explicit. They said, yeah, we don't want you playing that spec right now. We're going to come back and fix it. It was at the end of WoD, and they were like, we're going to come back and fix that next expansion, and at the moment, we just don't really want people playing it. So we've made that obvious.
As a Warlock player, I have to intervene, and I have to just set the record straight. The reason they weren't going to fix Demonology Warlocks in Warlords of Draenor was because they were gutting the Demonology Warlock in order to create the new Demon Hunter. So they couldn't fix the Demonology Warlock because basically the Demonology Warlock was losing its core fucking talent and core ability so that the Demon Hunters could get it instead and the Warlock could get fucked over. So that's why they didn't fix it. That's why they refused to fix it. But anyways, that's just my personal fucking gripe with that answer there.
Yes, in the nerfs that we've given it. But each class spec is 99% the same for all raiders. The choice is an illusion, as everyone reads a guide to min-max. That doesn't really matter. Like, the fact that like, balance is changed by the fact that you can swap out abilities, the fact that there is armor and weapons that change your abilities, right? Like, you know, there are 12 classes in this game. There are 36 specs in this game.
37,
and every single one of them has gear that can sync with some of their abilities and completely, like, out of nowhere, make them OP or underpowered if they don't sync up as well as with other classes and things like that. Like, even if you just take out the talent swapping and things like that, which you shouldn't because it's a massive deal, but even if you do just take out that, WoW still, because we insist, has tier sets and gear that changes our abilities. Like, 2 of our gear slots are specifically designed to change our abilities in trinkets and give us, like, extra abilities. And some of those might work much better for some classes than for other classes and things like that.
Yeah, but I don't have to watch the rest of this video, and this is no hate towards Taliesin, but Taliesin and I disagree fundamentally on the conclusion that he reaches. So he's now going forward in explaining or hyper-explaining his conclusion, just accepting that the conclusion is real, even though I don't agree with the conclusion. I'd love to sit down and actually talk to Taliesin about this, because I would like to know if he even considered the flip side of this. If he considered that, you know, if World of Warcraft had such a thing as housing. So imagine, for example, if Dragonflight had housing. and Dragonflight had a new island system, and Dragonflight had a new deep dungeon system, and also Dragonflight has the dragon riding system. Do you think if Ian did a live later, what do you think people would be most interested in talking about? If you knew that all of those things were coming, do you think people would really be very interested in class design at that point? Or do you think a lot of people would actually be like, so what is this housing thing going to be like? How do I know this? Because all people talked about during the build-up to WoD was garrisons. That was literally the biggest part of the hype train for Warlords of Draenor was garrisons. Because people wrongly believed that we're finally getting housing in World of Warcraft. People were hyped as fuck for the possibility of garrisons being a thing. That would have been a major talking point for a lot of people. Would there still be some people that are interested in class design? Of course there is. But that's true even in Final Fantasy. Your hardcore Savage players and your Ultimate Raiders still only really care about job design. They want to know, how balanced are our jobs going to be? What is the new things coming in our jobs? Are we getting new spells, new abilities? What's happening? But that's a part of the community. The problem in World of Warcraft is the entire community have been shoehorned into the content that requires class design. So yes, of course, the majority of the community are asking questions about class design, because if their class is shit, they can't do 90% of the fucking game. But, okay, so let's say you're a mage. Yeah, right? You're a mage. You've only ever played mage. And let's say the mage is 50% worse than any other class in the game. What can you do in World of Warcraft? So the mage is just across the board. Frost, Arcane, Fire. It's 50% more shit than every other class in the game. What can you actually do in World of Warcraft? Do you think you're going to get invited to any of the dungeons, any of the raids, anything? Annie, how you doing, bro? You'd basically be unable to play the game. Because 90% of the game doesn't work. No one wants to take you. So, of course, for everyone, that is the number one conversation. Of course.
Like, apart from anything, like, literally, Final Fantasy XIV doesn't even have trinkets that can change things up. Like, their kind of base of abilities for classes is so strict and so even across the...
You'd have to swap spec, and then again, you'd want to know about class design, right? Because you're swapping spec or you're swapping class. So you're still going to worry about class design first and foremost, because everything in World of Warcraft... So here's what would happen in Final Fantasy. Let's say in Final Fantasy, bards were completely fucking broken. They just didn't do any damage. You could still build your house. You could still go to the Golden Saucer. You can still go to the nightclubs. You can still do chocobo racing. That's a big one. Chocobo racing, right? You can do chocobo racing. Your job has no effect on chocobo racing. Chocobo racing has an effect on your job. You can do chocobo racing. You can do the deep dungeons. They should technically still work for you. You can do the stories. You can do the fights. You can do the relic grinds. You can collect stuff. You can do so much in Final Fantasy, even if your job is broken to the point where you're not going to get invited into groups. In a world where that could happen, there's an entire world that exists that has nothing to do with your job. Nothing. Where your job is literally just, it happens to be the thing you are. But you don't use your abilities or your spells in the setting, so it doesn't even matter. World of Warcraft doesn't have this. Like I said, 90% of World of Warcraft, if your abilities aren't working the way that it's supposed to work, you can't play the game.
The board, there's nothing that can change it up. You know, the only thing that changes up is the stats that come from your gear. It's as simple as that.
And I think
just before people think, oh my God, he's just shitting on WoW again. I'm actually not. I actually think that there is a good bit of movement now in Dragonflight towards the right thing. So today, during the interview that I covered this morning, Morgan Day was asked by The Starting Zone. It's a podcast, I think. The Starting Zone had an interview with Morgan Day, and they asked him, so listen here, now that there is no AP grind anymore in the game, what are we supposed to do if we're not raiding? Starbucks, thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Morgan Day first asked them, listen here, what do you mean? Do you guys miss AP grinds? And they were like, yeah, we're actually big fans of AP grinds. And he was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then he typed something on his keyboard. Hopefully he didn't go, by the way, note to self, let's add AP grinds. Hopefully that's not what he wrote there. But they asked him that, and he basically said, we're hoping that Dragonflight provides the foundation for the future of World of Warcraft. This is our current idea with professions, that professions will be so deep and in-depth that it will be a viable end-game product alongside things like dungeons, raids, and PvP. Now, immediately, a lot of people will take away from that, what the fuck, if I don't want to do professions, what are you talking about, bro? But it is the start. Remember, Ian said in his interview with Towley, they're actually looking at Torghast or Mage Tower being brought back in one of the patches. So they're doing the foundation for Dragonflight right now and saying, right, this is the game at its foundation. We want the foundational systems to be strong. So that if we do add Torghast, it exists on its own and it has nothing to do with the rest of the game. And people can go do that if they want. And then we can add Mage Tower and it exists on its own and people can go do it if they want. We can add new game modes and stuff to the Darkmoon Fair and it will exist on its own and people can go do that if they want. So we're going to add more content to the game now. And if you don't want to do dungeons and raids, you have all this other content available for you to do. So I do think that World of Warcraft in that regard is very much moving in the right direction. I like the direction that they're going in right now. Actually, I'm a huge fan of the direction that they're moving in right now. Let me just get to the first time chat here. Reading WoW Classic forums and Reddit people are already worried about not finding groups in Wrath Classic for the spec that they're planning on playing, and the game's not even out yet. Starbucks, that's sadly always the case in World of Warcraft.
You know, they don't even have trinkets that can do that. And even just introducing that into the mix adds so many variables and so many headaches. And then when you introduce like gear sets that do the same thing.
MMO, you want to fix Torghast immediately? You move Torghast over to Karazhan and you do make it an eternal feature. You give it something like 200 floors that you can do on your own at your own pace. You enhance and build on the talent system that already exists in Torghast, right? So give people more talents, allow them to basically upgrade themselves as much as they want and find a unique build for themselves in Torghast, and then just let people run and have fun with it. I think so many people will fucking go bonkers for that system.
Then when you introduce the fact that everyone's got like a 10 rows of talents or whatever that they can swap out with 3 options each, I mean, yeah, it's difficult. And then like, you know, you've got all of that within Raid and within Mythic Plus.
Jago, I would not be against it giving loot as long as the loot is only usable inside Karazhan. So if they added loot that you could wear while you're in Karazhan, great. But no loot for the outside game. The Torghast should not give any power that you can use in dungeons and raids. Then nobody cares? Fuck off, nobody cares, Checker. What are you talking about, nobody cares? The WoW mindset kills me, dude. It fucking kills me when WoW players just... Because WoW have been designed for years that everything must provide player power. Everything must be player power focused. WoW players have fallen into this thing that if there isn't power, no one will do it. The point of sex is to make babies. So why do you wank? You can't get your hand pregnant. So why do you wank? Because it's fun. It's completely wasted, but it's fun, so you fucking do it anyways. Games are meant to be fun. If something is fun, people will do it. Whether there's power there or not, if it's fun, they'll fucking do it. We don't just have sex to make babies. We have sex because it's fucking fun. We play games because it's fun. It's just WoW players that sort of go, wait, what are you paying me? No. If I'm going to be playing this game, I need payment. So what am I getting? It's not a fucking job. It's a game. It's meant to be played. Fuck. Oh my God. Bro, I get so fucking sick and tired of WoW play. Why is this a thing for WoW players? What the fuck? Why? Is it are you guys incapable of playing games just for fun? Why must everything come with a fucking, check? No, what am I getting? Am I getting power upgrades here? If I'm not getting power upgrades, I'm not doing that. Dude, it's a game. If the only reason you're doing something is for the power upgrades, then maybe that thing shouldn't exist in the first place. Because that thing is just badly fucking poorly designed at that point.
Plus, and within PvP, and I know Final Fantasy XIV has that as well, but it has so many less variables to be playing with. And, we all know that. I'm not saying anything controversial here. I'm not teaching you anything. But I do think that is genuinely a reason why things like the developer Q&As in World of Warcraft don't work quite as well as the live letters in Final Fantasy XIV, is because class balance is so much more of an issue in World of Warcraft, because there's so much more to balance, and because,
I don't necessarily
as well,
agree with this,
competitive play is more...
I get his point, like I said, I just don't agree with what he's saying. I don't agree with his conclusion here.
More of a thing in World of Warcraft, so the balance is more important to more people. Inevitably, the conversation is so focused around balance. When I'm in the Final Fantasy XIV community, I see conversations about balance, but nothing like on the level that we see with World of Warcraft. With World of Warcraft, it's almost...
Actually, no. Taliesin, if you move in the right circles in Final Fantasy, I have a couple of friends that play Final Fantasy at Savage level, very, very high Savage level. It's all they talk about is class balance. They get pissy when the classes aren't completely balanced. They get pissy when their class is broken. But that's because that's the content that they do. But because there's so much other content to do, they have no interest in, someone who's into the housing system. They couldn't give two fucks whether Bard is more balanced than, because they haven't pressed an ability in years. Right? They're just building fucking houses. They're just running their clubs and shit. They couldn't care less whether my class is doing X amount of damage or no damage or whatever. They don't know. They don't play. They don't care. So I would argue that, again, the reason I think, so I'm not going to watch the whole video, but I will say this. The reason I think we don't have live letters in World of Warcraft is they are an incredible labor of love. Yoshi P goes live, and it is long. The one live letter that I watched from Yoshi P was 6 fucking hours. 6 hours. Now, sure, a lot of that was made longer by the fact that everything has to be translated, but that's still fucking 6 hours that Yoshi P had to sit there like a dick and talk to the community. He does it because he wants to. Because he loves that community and he wants to talk to the community. Ian doesn't do it because for Ian, 6 hours with the community would be fucking 5 hours too much. That's why I think there's no such thing as a live letter. Because I think for Ian Hazzikostas, and it's not just Ian, for Blizzard, it's a business. And 6 hours talking to the community, Jesus, that's a lot of wasted money that we could have spent just writing a blue post or putting out a bit of media. Why would we spend 6 hours talking to the fucking community? It's also why every single one of their interviews is a half an hour long. Half an hour. You get like 5 fucking questions. You have to ask your 5 questions and then you have to get fucked. And if you had more questions, sorry, went too long. We only have half an hour. We gotta run. Come on. To hell with the fact that you might actually be having... So the interview that I covered today, by the way, with the starting zone was a fucking good interview. They were asking really cool questions. Half an hour. We need to go. Yeah, fuck your cool interview. You had your half an hour. We said a bunch of things. You asked a bunch of things. Now get fucked. There's no retort. There's no back and forth. What did Yoshi P's interview with Asmongold and Rich look like? What did that interview look like? They were asking questions Yoshi P was answering. Then they were asking a follow-up question on what Yoshi P just said. Yoshi P would listen and then retort immediately. You know, Yoshi P would retort and he'd be like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. We think about it this way. Have you guys seen the interview where Yoshi P spoke to some guy in the Final Fantasy community about a class that was broken? I can't remember what the class was called. I think it was a healer. Some healer or healers that were broken. Yoshi P and this guy sat there and fucking argued about how to fix the problem. Like, not argue as in fight. They were debating, like, back and forth. Like, oh, how do you think we can fix this? Okay, that's a good idea, but what about this? What about this? What about that? What about this? What about this? They were actually having a conversation, and it was also just supposed to be an interview. It's a media tour. That's what they were doing. They were showing off their new expansion, Endwalker. That's the difference. For World of Warcraft, it's business. It is business. And 6 hours talking to the fucking community, that's wasted money. Why would we even do that? We're going to set up a slew of 30-minute interviews, and then we're done. Then that's it. We've done our job. We've communicated with the community. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's your approach and it works, then great. It works for you. I have no problem. I don't want to force Blizzard to be more like Final Fantasy, but I just think it shows in terms of the approach. The approach makes it very clear. Anyways, I'm not going to watch the whole of this because, like I said, we agree on the premise. We disagree on the conclusion and what exactly that conclusion would be. But I can definitely see... I can see where Taliesin is coming from in this take. But I'm not going to watch the whole thing because basically this is going to be me for the next 21 minutes saying, I don't agree, here's why I don't agree, and it's going to be the exact same reason why I don't agree, because he keeps speaking as if his conclusion is self-explanatory, and I'm going, no, I don't like that conclusion. We have to spend a little bit more time on the fucking conclusion before we can just conclude that that is in fact the truth. So, yeah. Of course, you would agree, Talia is a WoW simp. I don't think Taliesin is as big of a WoW simp as people think he is, Grandoras. If you've paid attention to a lot of Taliesin's videos, specifically Taliesin on stream, not Taliesin in YouTube. So YouTube Taliesin and stream Taliesin are not the same fucking thing. Not even close. I do love hearing your counter arguments to his point. Carrier, the reason I sort of fine. We'll keep watching, but I can tell you now it's just going to be more of the same. So I'm not going to repeat myself again. From here on, if I do this, it means I don't agree for the exact same reasons that I've stated 4 times now. I don't agree, right? I'm not going to keep interrupting myself because yeah, this could be a very long reaction if I constantly disagree with things that I have disagreed with the whole time.
Almost always, inevitably, one of the main topics of conversation with everything. You know, most of the conversation that surrounded covenants was around the balance of the covenants. Most of the conversation around any new feature is around class balance and how it impacts that. So at the end of the day, any conversation about WoW with the devs,
Jaco, yes and no. Do you agree with me that times change? So something that was true 10 years ago isn't necessarily going to be true today. You know, so it used to be way back in the day that really sexy clothes for women was clothes that showed off the ankles. Today, if a girl wears a dress that only shows off the ankles, that's a nun, right? That's not sexy clothing. Times change. What Blizzard used to do is clearly no longer fucking working. It's no longer working. The gaming community have moved on. This is why games like ESO are getting the success that they're getting. This is why games like Final Fantasy are getting the success that it's getting. Because it has changed with the times. It has kept up with what gamers want. World of Warcraft is the only one that is still stuck in this one-dimensional game design flow, where everything is designed around endgame systems, and the systems is limited. I want World of Warcraft to adapt, not change, adapt to the modern era of gaming. This means that World of Warcraft has to include casual pieces of content. It has to become a casual game, a game that invites casuals and actually gives casuals things to do. And if you think I'm wrong, well, too fucking bad, because Blizzard agrees with me. Dragonflight, if nothing else, is a love letter to the casual side of World of Warcraft. Ian have said it twice now in 2 separate interviews. They have to start focusing more on casual content because they have finally fucking realized what the rest of us have known for a really long time. Games in modern day now no longer work as hardcore end game focused games. People don't have the time. A lot of people have full-time jobs, full-time families. They want to spend 3 hours of their night doing something they love and having fun. They don't want to log in and do 4 hours of hardcore farming so that they can raid 3 nights a week. 7 days a week, they're playing the game just to keep up with everyone else. No one wants that anymore. People want to have fun. They want to log in and do something that's fun that they can feel fulfilled with by the end of their playtesting. That's what I want WoW to be. I want WoW to go back to what used to be fun.
Fortunately, will kind of circle back to that. It's like Godwin's law, right? It'll always come back to balance. And you saw that in live Q&As. I've sat there at BlizzCon when a new expansion has been announced, okay? And I've seen like people going through the questions, deciding what questions are going to be in the Q&A. And the amount of balance questions in the BlizzCon developer Q&A for WoW that were put in the little fucking box is mind-blowing, like staggering. If these new talents work as intended, you can actually alter your playstyle and still be viable. I much prefer WoW's approach. What's viable, though? That's the thing, Tank and Funk. Like, what is viable? Because if you look at classes in WoW right now, they're all viable. Like, my criteria for a class being viable is that you can get ahead of the curve and that you can get Keystone Master and that you can get, like, vicious whatever in PvP.
I absolutely agree with Taliesin here. The problem is, again, the mindset, and this, by the way, is not just a WoW thing. This is a gaming thing. If you're not top, you're lost. If your class isn't the absolute tippity top best performing spec, then it's broken, it's underperforming, it's nerfed to the fucking ground, it's unplayable. Even though every single class in World of Warcraft have killed every single boss that there is to kill in the final raid of the expansion, some of them are broken according to the community. It's like, no, it's not. If that class was part of the group that killed it, it's a viable class. Now, have there in the past been classes that's been completely broken to the point where no one wants to take the spec? Yes, that has happened. Where you have specs that is so bad that no one wants to take them. I'm sort of reminded of way back in the day, Subtlety Rogues used to work like this, and the Survival Hunter from Legion used to work like this. Theoretically, the two best DPS classes in the game, but because of how it's meant to be played, it's almost unplayable in the real world. You physically can't play it in the real world. Survival Hunter, if it can literally stand still and do damage, it will out-damage everything. This was back in Legion. I'm sure it's been fixed these days. It will out-damage everything. If it moves, even for a moment, it's done. The rotation is fucked. It can't fucking play. It has to rebuild everything. It's a mess. Okay, so these were specs that were completely broken, and that has happened. The issue is the community has this misconception that something is broken even if it's just 5% worse than everything else. 5% is not broken. It just means you're not the fucking top.
Like, that's my criteria for classes being viable. And anything like above that, gravitating towards the most optimal and best specs is part of the game at the highest levels. So that's not the same as being viable. Like, at heroic level and Keystone Master level, and at whatever like the kind of like the base competitive PvP level is, I think all the classes are viable, and that's what viable means for me. I guess other people are going to have different criteria to that, right? Feral Druids and Mythic Plus is painful, even to get a Keystone Master.
Pretty much, yeah.
Is it though? But is it difficult to get Keystone Master because groups aren't taking you, or because you're not actually doing much damage? Because I bet actually you're absolutely fine. I bet damage-wise and like what you bring to the group.
The question that I would have is, Diesto Slimes, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the follow, really appreciate it. The question I would have is, how do you fix that? Because one of the ways you could fix that is by removing the ability to log and also damage meters, right? Because if people can't see how much damage they're doing, they can't know whether they're bad or not. Most WoW players would have a fucking coronary if you did that. They would lose their minds if you remove that. So how do you change? This is like a question philosophically that I think about a lot. What do you do in order to convince players that, hey, you know what? It is okay to sometimes not be the absolute best at everything. It is okay. You can absolutely play it that way, and it's not going to cost you everything, and it's not going to mean the end of the world for you. Diesto, thanks for the first time chat, dude. Really appreciate that. The recording of me reacting to one of yours. Nice, bro. Nice. I'd love to see that. Siggy Fisk, thanks for the follow. Mike Robo, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Now, Akko, you just balance everything right, like FF14 does. FF14 doesn't balance everything right. There is at least a 5% redundancy variable in Final Fantasy XIV. There is a 5% variable difference between classes in jobs in Final Fantasy XIV. And people complain. In Final Fantasy XIV, the top end do complain about the 5% variable in job design. The question is how... maybe that is the answer, because the majority of the player base couldn't give two fucks in Final Fantasy XIV because they don't do hardcore raids. Maybe that is the thing. As soon as Blizzard starts providing more sort of freedom in playing various parts of the game, and you're not really forced to do only raids or dungeons, then maybe the complaints will become less and less, to your stream right now. Wait, Talia is reacting to my stream? Tell him to join Discord. Let's have a conversation about his discussion here. Sigifest, thanks for the first time chat, dude. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because I would like to talk about this. I think it's an interesting topic. Can't compare range, physical DPS. Tally War, thanks for the follow, dude. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. He actually is reacting to your stream. Oh, nice. How you doing, Tally? we're talking about your or watching your video about the class tuning problems. Ascension, you bastard, thanks for the prime, so I did really appreciate that. 14 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As I said, the thing that I'm not sure of is how do you get players out of that mindset of my class is 5% worse than everyone else's, therefore my class is broken. Because it's not broken, right? It isn't broken. It isn't going to cause anything. Can someone head over to Taliesin and tell him that I don't mind him watching at all? And also, if he wanted to discuss this, I would be more than happy to jump into Discord with him and actually have a discussion about this, because it is interesting. He has the stream muted, by the way, so he didn't hear the whole Discord thing. I don't care. I was actually just sort of saying so people can tell him. He was waving his hand, saying he doesn't, then closed the stream. He said that he's fine with you reacting to his videos, all you want. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would care either way, to be honest, even if he said he wasn't fine with it. Because he can always copyright strike them, right? If he doesn't want to derail or something. Dude, my entire stream is one big derailment of everything. So no one can fucking derail anything. 5% better? No, the answer is almost certainly not to balance everything exactly the same. That is impossible. I don't know what the fuck you guys are smoking if you think that's even possible.
You're completely viable.
So, thanks for the first time chat. Did really appreciate that.
Keystone Master is that people aren't taking you, and that's completely different. That's completely different from a class not being viable. That
I actually want to mention something here that I literally thought about just this morning. So there's a study that was done about, I think, 3 years ago, but I read about the study about a year ago, where they looked at the player base, the gaming player base, and the percentage of gaming or players in video games that actually, the percentage of players in video games that actually interact outside of the game. So these would be the people that go to forums, either official or Reddit. These are people that go to YouTube and all the rest of it. They wanted to know how many people actually interact with the game outside of the game. And what they found is, on average, is about 30%. Only 30% of the entire player base of a game will actually head to YouTube forums, official forums and stuff like that to, interact with sources and content around the game. 70%, that means, do not. There's 70% of the WoW player base, if WoW is in the average, that do not know what a cookie cutter build is, that do not know whether or not their class is broken, right? They have no idea. These are the people that they're just doing dungeons. They have their friends. They've been doing the same dungeons with the same group of friends for years. And they're just having their fun, They're just doing their Mythic Plus, they'd say 5, 10, and they're having a good time. They don't know that the Frost Mage is currently 5% worse than the fucking Fire Mage or anything like that. They're just playing, They're just living their fucking best lives. The rest of us here, we're fighting and fucking arguing and making noise, but there's like 70% of the player base that is just like, they have no idea what the fuck is going on, right? They're just living, and it's just fun. And I was specifically talking about the talent trees and the way the talent trees are set up now, and people sort of go, oh, it doesn't matter because it's just going to be cookie cutter. And it's like, yeah, but if this is true, if this research holds true for World of Warcraft, it means that 70% of the player base is going to have a lot of choice now in Dragonflight because they don't know what a cookie cutter is. They're just going to build whatever they think is cool. So Taliesin is correct that you're not going to get into groups with people that know what the meta is, right? But you'll still find groups. Might be a little bit harder, but you'll still find groups, I think. And there, I don't know if there's a fix. I do not know if you can solve that issue.
That is the community perception of the highest level play filtering down into what viable like even means. Yeah, the problem is the meta mentality for sure. I'll admit I don't invite ferals. Well, I don't invite them because what's got to be wrong with you to play feral, right?
True. I do agree. Man, there's a lot of things I agree with Taliesin in this video. It feels strange. But yeah, I mean, if you're playing Druid, you're effectively wasting your fucking life. To be fair, though, the same is true for Paladin, also for Hunter, also for Mage, also for Priest, also for Warrior. But if you're not playing Warlock, you're really wasting your life. So yeah, I agree. You should only invite Warlocks, really.
It's nothing to do with the class. It's the person. It's all the person, right? Nothing to do with the class. Have to disagree. Keystone, Hero, CE, and Glad are part of the game. But so's... Well, so you think everything should be viable at the very highest levels of play?
It's not possible.
Really? You think everything should be viable at the very highest levels of play?
Well, again, what is viable? I wanna see something here. So this is for Mythic, right? This is for Mythic rating. It is my understanding, if we're gonna go all bosses, so let's go for the final boss, the Jailer. Is there a single spec that has 0 passes? Made up friend, how you doing, bro? Welcome to the channel. Thanks for the follow. Thank you. All of the specs so far, from what I can see, DPS specs, have done the Jailer on Mythic. So this means that every single spec is viable in World of Warcraft. They're all viable. Sure, not all of them are the Demonology Warlock, right? The Demonology Warlock is clearly overpowered, but they're all viable. So, according to the player base, Frost Mage is not viable. As far as the player base is concerned, Frost Mage isn't viable. Because Frost Mage is so low. It's so low, bro. But it's not, though, is it? Because it can be done. There's Frost Mages that have done it. How good it is in clearing, though? People don't understand that a pass is a clear. A pass is a clear, but this is because the fucking player base are filled with a fucking bunch of morons that think that if you're not top, you're bottom. That's the issue. It does include boosts, but since I don't know who the fuck is boosted and who isn't, we're just going to have to accept that some of it might be boosts, some of it might not, right? Hardcope, thank you much for the follow, dude. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you.
Like the elite levels of play. I can't agree with that. I'm really sorry. I think like at the highest levels of play, choosing...
So you want to do 90th percentile? Again, they all seem to have parses. They do all seem to have parses. Representation of viability. The fact that every single class have been able to do it within the 90th percentile, and these would be people that haven't boosted, right? These are all people that's in the 90th percentile, so they weren't boosted. They were there on their own. The fact that every single one of them have this, yes, every class in World of Warcraft is viable. The question that we need to ask, and this is what I don't know the answer to, This is what I said. Why I said I would actually love to talk to Taliesin about his video here. Because the question becomes, how do you educate the player base to recognize that viable, if you're parsing, you're viable. Even if you're not in the 90th percentile, you're parsing. You've killed the fucking boss. It died whilst you were in the group. This means that you are viable. You are capable of doing it. The only way that you can say a class isn't viable is if the group can fucking constantly kill the boss, but as soon as they bring your class, then they can't kill the boss. That's when a class would be not viable, right? Because the class literally blocked you from being able to kill the boss. Prior, like anything short of that, and you are viable. But the player base don't think that way.
The right specs and choosing the right classes to take is literally part of the game. Part of high-level play is your composition.
I think I know why this happens. Dude. Oh my god. You know why this happens? Well, World First Races. Valfair, thanks for the tier 1 sub. Really appreciate that. 2 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I found WoW is so much more about the gear and the damage, whereas 14 is more about the dance, which makes a big difference, I think. True, and still people in Final Fantasy also complain. But you are correct in that. The issue that I can see, at least, so from what I can tell, hold up, let me just, yeah. From what I can tell, at least, the issue is World First rating. So, World First guilds, and this is what most people don't understand. Most players don't have the mental, the mental fortitude nor the intelligence to understand this. World First guilds go into the raid massively undergeared. Undergeared to what the raid was actually designed to be done as. So if the raid is designed to be done at 200 item level, most World First guilds are doing it at 190, 195 item level. So they're below what you should actually have to do the raid. This means that they have to optimize out of their assholes. They can't take any class that is even 1% too far behind the others. Why? Because that 1% is the difference between a wipe and success. So they create this system whereby, you know, Frost Mages are really bad right now, so we're not going to take a Frost Mage. We're going to take Arcane. We're going to take an extra Demonology Warlock because Demonology Warlocks are fucking OP. We're not going to take this, this, and this because these classes just don't work right now. But that's only for them. That's literally only for them. For no one else is that true. So you have to educate the player base and teach them that no, that's not necessary. Not for you guys. You guys don't have to fucking worry about this. You are fine and you can do it. It's designed for everyone to be able to do it.
And I think that's all fine. I think that's right. It should be. Like, you want to take composition out of being part of, like, elite level play. You know, that's like saying all positions in a football team should be equally viable. I should be allowed to play like 1 goalkeeper and like 10 midfielders, but all those positions should be viable, so that should be fine. It's like, no, composition is important. The formation you play in football is important. Not every formation is viable. And I feel like that's part of elite play in WoW. I feel like, you know...
Karia, the problem is the filtering down. You want to know who the most tyrannical raid leaders are in the entirety of World of Warcraft? It's hardcore, heroic raid leaders. Oh my god. There is no guild that is run more tyrannically than a hardcore heroic guild. I say hardcore, I mean hardcore, right? These are the guild masters that no talking, you do not fucking speak. Everyone be quiet. We have to kill this boss. And if you speak, we're not going to be able to kill the boss because the boss is going to hear you and run away or whatever. I don't know. I don't know why you can't speak, but you can't speak. It's heroic. It's very serious business, this. These guys are the guys that see what the hardcore raiding guilds are doing and then dream of being a hardcore raiding guild themselves, but they can barely fucking kill the first boss on heroic. And it filters down because now other classes start to feel bad. The guild master don't want to take frost mages because frost mages aren't good, even though frost mages are more than good enough to actually be able to kill a heroic, right? But Method didn't have any frost mages in their clear, so clearly frost mages are broken right now. So we have to recruit more things. How do I know this? Because I've played with people like that. I used to be one of those people. It isn't until much later in my life that I realized I was a fucking moron. Because we were a good guild. Don't get me wrong, we weren't a bad guild. We cleared Mythic every single patch. We cleared it. We got out ahead of the curves. We did our things. We were a good guild. We weren't the best guild, but we were good. We were doing our bit. We didn't need to be hardcore. We could have just been a normal guild where everyone gets to play and have fun, and we would probably have done better.
Your group composition is something that people enjoy about the game at elites level. It's part of the game, in my opinion. And
yeah,
I think it's right that levels below that, it shouldn't be an issue. And that it should just be viable.
But how do you teach
every
people
class should be viable, and I think it is. It's only my opinion. I disagree with you, but I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying like your opinion isn't good. I play second goalkeeper in football. For some reason, no one accepts that as a role. I know, it's crazy. They should design each encounter to...
Does second goalkeeper ever play, though? I mean, that's like being included just so you can also be included. I feel like the son of the fucking coach will be like the second goalkeeper because at least they're on the team. But it's not like, hey, it's like the second quarter or the third string quarterback in the third string quarterback in NFL, right? You're not really playing, but hey, you're on the team. So that helps.
To maximize different fantasies for all class types, but not all classes. Healers should feel important, etc. Yeah, but at the same time, like, there are different kinds of fights as well. Like, you get patchwork fights. There are like fights that are very much focused on like sustained healing, and then there are fights that are focused on like burst healing and things like that, and likewise with DPS, and tanking's a funnier one for sure. I remember Law saying at one point, if WoW classes were balanced around meta builds, the only class that'd be viable for everything is Belf Fire Mage. Composition of a group is important, but in my opinion, you should be able to create a successful group comp with different combos. I don't think there should only be a select few classes specs that are the successful combo. Here's the thing.
But there isn't, though.
Clearly, it is possible with different combos. When composition is part of the game, the elitist team is going to have a composition, and people are going to copy that.
Agreed.
At what point does that become, well, other classes aren't viable and other combinations aren't viable? If the top 3 teams are all running the same combo and they're beating everyone, is that because of their combo, or is that because they're the top 3 teams? If they're running a combo which is beating everyone, are they beating everyone because of their combo, or are they beating everyone because they are literally just better than everyone else anyway? It's probably a bit of both, right? A shit group isn't suddenly going to finish Mythic Raid because
Leo,
because they are using the meta specs.
I checked the recording and I'm scuffed, YouTuber streamer, because the audio was not done right, lol. So I can't even show you my recording. Fuck, dude. Well, still, I'm glad you enjoyed it, bro. Had to pull out logs, and IO beat my point into his head. Oh, you're talking about something that happened to you in-game. So at this point, everything Taliesin is saying, I agree with. 100%.
Exactly, and like... just to be clear, I actually firmly believe that any class spec currently in the game can actually be successful. I'm not sure about Glad. The idea of don't take X class spec ever into your 24 or higher Mythic or your Mythic Raid group is what I take issue with. Yeah, exactly. And that's... I get in trouble when I say this now, Nat. But I'm going to say it anyway. It's kind of like a community issue, isn't it? Isn't it? If everything is viable... but people are still only taking meta specs.
Yep.
I don't really know how much we can blame the game for that. Inviting a feral won't make you fail.
True.
Yeah, but
Fucking true.
might mean you end up going on a guild holiday with an absolute psycho. Just to be clear, it's not the class that I take umbrage with. That's not why I don't take ferals in groups. It's because the people that play feral, fuck those guys.
There we go.
I'm joking. I'm literally joking. I'm so joking. Like the feral.
Dude, don't say you're joking. It takes away from the joke. Like, double down. Ferals are morons. Everyone knows it. It's when you're stupid. If you're too stupid to play rogue, you play feral. Simple as that. And you play rogue when you're too stupid to play warlock. Easy.
The feral player in our guild is very, very lovely. Shilly is a good dude. I like him. I like him very much. I'm only joking. Clipped and shipped.
Nice, dear
Yeah,
sir.
so
Good luck with the streaming,
every
brother.
spec in the game has completed a plus 24.
Streaming is super fun, but also super fucking taxing. I would say, Diesto, if I can give you some advice, and I would say I'm probably not the best person to give advice on how to stream, since I don't even have a fucking clue how you're supposed to stream. But I will give you a little bit of advice, though. Do not accept the affiliate program. Do not accept the affiliate program. It does nothing for you. It simply limits you. Get yourself a program like Restream. Start a YouTube channel and start co-streaming to YouTube and to Twitch at the same time. See whichever one of those platforms gets big for you. So whichever one gets more viewers. And if YouTube gets more viewers, just keep streaming to both. If Twitch gets more viewers, then eventually. But I would say before 100 viewers. So if you're not at 100 viewers at least yet, I would not accept any exclusivity contract from Twitch. And affiliate status is an exclusivity contract effectively, because as soon as you become an affiliate, you're no longer allowed to stream to both, or to YouTube and to Twitch. And you're not going to make any money as an affiliate. I only started making like decent money at around 90 viewers. And when I say decent, I mean I make anywhere between like $500 and $700 a month on Twitch. So it's not like I'm making bank, right? It's not like I'm rich bitch or anything. But I make about $500 to $700 a month on Twitch with my viewers. Now, how many viewers do we have right now? Let's see. How many viewers do we have? 185. Jesus, fuck. Why is there so many of you listening to my boring shit? This is pressure. Oh my God, there's so much pressure on me. You guys should go. Let me just hang out. Fuck. No, I'm like, welcome to everyone. But so between 500 and 700, not great money. But when I was at 60 viewers, I was barely pulling in $100 to $200 a month, dude. Barely pulling $100 to $200 a month. That's no money. That's not worth anything. So you would have more growth if you go to Twitch and YouTube and see which one grows first. That would be my advice to you. Adrian, you bastard, thanks for the tier 1 sub. Really appreciate that. 3 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Here goes another coffee for you, Akko. I appreciate it.
For in time. Yeah, exactly. I think when you look at that evidence, is there any spec that hasn't got cutting edge? Has every spec got cutting edge? Has every spec done a plus 24? Because that's way beyond my criteria, by the way. My criteria is that you can do ahead of the curve and, like, you know, Keystone Master. But I wouldn't mind betting that at this stage, every spec has got cutting edge. Anyone can get carried? I mean, yeah, I guess. But then, I don't know, man. For me, if I had...
It's okay, so it's not about being carried. We've literally done it here. The 90th percentile, all the standings, and every single one of the classes has a parse. And these aren't people that were carried. These aren't people that were boosted. These are people that actually played. And they all killed the Mythic boss. They all took Zaval down on Mythic. So, yeah. The fact is, Taliesin is not wrong. It is a community problem. The community creates these dead class, by the way. And then it doesn't really matter. Whatever Blizzard does from that point forward, class is dead. Unless Blizzard buffs the class by like 200%, class is dead.
If I had to take a bet on what class someone who pays for a Mythic carry is playing, I would bet that they're playing a meta spec. If I had to literally bet, like if someone said, I have just bought a Mythic carry for Cutting Edge, what's my spec? I'd put my money on it being a fucking flavor of the month. It's just a feeling I have, just a gut feeling I have. I paid and I'm not meta, I'm just really bad at the game. Well, you proved me wrong. You proved me wrong. I don't mind being proven wrong. It's not. This isn't a theory I'm putting any weight into. I don't think there are more than 10 Affliction Warlocks doing progression on AF.
I mean, I'm not going to talk about boosting because I'm going to get angry and I don't want to be angry again. I've already been angry a few times today at the WoW community. So I will steer clear of the fucking boosting community as I steer clear of hookers. That's too cheap. But I will say this. The meta slave mentality is one that I've had a problem with for a really long time. Not because it's wrong. Everyone gets to play the game that they want to play, right? What I don't like is how harshly others are judged. Or others judge people that want to play the game the way that they want to play it. And as we discussed earlier, the people that judge the harshest are the heroic fucking raid leaders. That somehow, if you're not cookie cutter, you're not coming. Because heroic's really difficult and we need all the power we can fucking get. It just annoys the living fuck out of me. Just let people play the goddamn game. I remember making content for Warlocks. This was long ago. I made content for Warlocks, and I had 3 different types of guides that I would release every single patch. The first was the intro guide. So it was the beginner's guide. It was to help new Warlocks that just want to start, doing some raiding. Then I would have the intermediate and then finally the advanced. The advanced was usually like 6 minutes, 7 minutes long. It was a really short guide. It was meant more to teach you the more difficult tips and tricks of really getting a lot of damage out. My beginner guides, on the other hand, were oftentimes the wrong builds. So I wouldn't give people the optimal build, and the class discords would get so angry at me because I would tell people to take the wrong talents. The reason I would tell people to take the wrong talents was because, so as a Warlock, the second row on your talent tree, you have the option between getting your agony stacks to go to 15, getting a permanent corruption, plus corruption does 100% more damage, or getting siphon life. Now, depending on the situation, either agony or siphon life is the right decision. But both of those make the spec somewhat harder to play. So for my beginner's guide, I told people to take corruption. And then I told them to practice with one of the other 2. So as soon as they start feeling good and they feel like, hey, I'm getting this thing correct, I can start sort of, I'm starting to do my rotation perfectly, then start practicing with Curse of Agony, start practicing with Siphon Life. But when you start out, start with Corruption. Why did I do that? Because if you're a brand new player, who do you think's doing more damage? The person with the correct build playing it poorly, or the person with the bad build playing it perfectly? I would almost always put my money on the bad build being played perfectly. WoW players do not think that way. At least not the elitist cunts. They do not think that way.
FF, but has one of them got Cutting Edge though? Shots fired at the survival community. Yeah, it's okay. It's difficult with multi-DPS specs, because it's that, like, likewise with Disc. Everyone says Disc is trash at the moment, and it's not. Discipline is absolutely fucking fine at the moment.
Exactly,
but
Evans.
it's not as
I agree.
OP as Holy, right? So when you're playing a class and literally another spec that you can swap to just by pressing a button, you don't have to start a new character or anything like that, is like, just, you're going to have an easier time. A lot of people are going to do that, but that does not mean that the other spec isn't viable by any means.
Yeah,
like Disc
I
is
agree with that.
absolutely fine. You can do anything.
I don't
on
know if Disc is
now.
fine though. I
Holy is
haven't played in a
massively OP.
really long time.
I
so
think
don't
being
know.
a one spec pony shouldn't be the most viable playstyle. You choose a class, not a spec. Yeah, but I mean,
That's
then
not
we
true.
are into our.
That's not true anymore. I just want to say the whole you choose a class, not a spec, no longer true. Blizzard themselves have now confirmed that is dead. It's actually one of the things that they've sort of dove into and solidified in Dragonflight. People choose specs. People do not choose classes. They choose a spec. This is why when you ask someone, what do you play? What do they say? If I ask any of you right now, what do you play? You're going to tell me you're playing a BM Hunter, or you're going to tell me you're playing a Destro Lock, or you're going to tell me you're playing a Holy Paladin. You're not just going to say Paladin. You're not just going to say Warlock. Catgirl, of course. But you're going to tell me your spec and then your class, because your spec is important to you. It's sad, because I fucking wish that that wasn't how it worked. But sadly, that is how it works. So, you know.
Our balancing thing.
We
right?
are
So
where
then
we
we are
are.
into the fact that, so say the classes are balanced, right? Say the specs are balanced. Say Frost is balanced with Fire. Now, why would you even want Frost to be balanced with Fire? Like, isn't the whole point of having different specs that they're good at different things? But whatever. Let's say that Fire and Frost are perfectly balanced. Now introduce the 4 set into the mix. All it takes is for the 4 set to be slightly better for one spec over the other, and suddenly it's not balanced anymore, right? And not only that, what are you actually balancing against? It's like, so Discipline Priest is good or bad in Raid, not even with how its numbers are balanced, but with how the timers on the bosses work. If bosses have predictable, timed damage that goes out, Disc is going to be better on that song. Better on that boss. If bosses have predictable timer damage that goes out once every 90 seconds exactly, Discipline is going to fucking destroy.
Was it song because disco? Do you think because he said disc so many times, he was thinking disco, and he just went, disc is going to be better on that song? If the dragons were legit not Sparkle Rule 34 memes, I would be down to play Evoker. How many of you are actually hyped about the Evoker Drakthir? Eternal Knight, how you doing? Actually, let me ask this. How many of you were a little disappointed when you saw what Drakthir looked like?
That boss. If the damage that goes out is random or depends on things that people in the raid do, Discipline is not going to be as good at that boss. And that's nothing to do with Discipline's numbers. That's nothing to do with Discipline's tuning. That's to do with its synergy with the bosses. And
Mate,
that's
brain, how you
definitely
doing,
the
bro?
case in
Gaming Mama, how you doing? Thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. So it seems like from what I'm getting from a lot of people in the comment sections, from people in chat right now, it does feel like there's a great many people that are not very happy with Drakthir. And I think to some extent that is Blizzard's fault. When you tell people that you're going to play a dragon, right? You're going to play something akin to a dragon. What most people think is bulky, beefy fucking dragon, you know? It's a dragon. Dragons are huge. And then what you give players is fucking tiny boy that's never been in the gym dragon, right? And I think for a lot of people, that shattering of what they were envisioning and what they ultimately got, I don't know if you can get back to it. Because I don't think the Drakthir look bad. I think the Drakthir look fine. I think the problem is that people were expecting one thing and then got something completely different. And once that happens, there's no getting back to it. It's like you swipe right on a girl on Tinder and she looks like one thing in her photos, and then you see her IRL, and suddenly she looks very different. That's almost never a salvageable situation, right? It's not salvageable. You're like, ooh, yeah, this is not what I was expecting. This is not why I came to dinner. So that's sort of, it is just a problem that I don't think can be solved. And then I have to be honest, the Evoker is actually my biggest issue, because I think the Dractheater look fine. The Evoker is my biggest issue. It doesn't play like I would expect a dragon to play. And in saying that, if you were to ask me how I think a dragon should play, I can't fucking tell you. I just know that it's not like that. I don't fucking know how to describe it to you, but they don't feel dragony to me. And I want dragony, and I realize that means fuck all to any of you, but there it is. That's the truth.
In Sepulchre, the first ones, in Sanctum of Domination, the bosses were all timed perfectly to Discipline Priest. So it was awesome to play Discipline Priest in that, because like so many bosses had big predictable damage that went out every 90 seconds. So Disc was sitting there just like, yeah, fucking suck it. The tuning of Disc didn't have to change at all for Disc to be worse in Sepulchre, because the bosses were different. It's as simple as that. So that's what we're talking about when it comes to balance. It's not even anything to do with the actual classes half the time. It's like what the bosses give you. So, like, at what point do we say this is, like, what should Blizz be doing to make all of this viable and balanced? I don't even know. People are going to force others to play meta, even if you don't want to, sadly. Why will others let you do it with a non-optimal spec? For you to have fun, for a very low chance the whole group fail. That's the meta mentality and will never disappear unless balance is close to perfect. Well, I mean, also, it's got a lot to do with kind of pug life
Same
as
changes
well.
that DK's went through in Wrath. It'll take a few expansions for it to be workable. I can see that. I think people were just very much excited for what could have been. I will say, though, this is the first time that no hate here, but I sort of... Wait, no, let's quickly check this. Fuck it. Hold up. And I'm not trying to point any fingers here or do any hate stuff here. That's not at all what I'm trying to do. But it was interesting to me looking at sort of the coverage from sort of the top WoW content creators when it comes to the new classes, considering how hyped people usually are for new classes. The views is incredibly low when it comes to Dractheater and Evoker. It's incredibly low. There just doesn't seem to be that hype around what the class and the spec needs to be. And for that, I do think Blizzard is gonna have to do some reimagining. I think it's gonna have its players. I do think there's gonna be players. I mean, just in the chat, we had people that said they're really looking forward to playing it, and that's great. Maybe Blizzard doesn't even have to do a change, because not everyone has to like everything. That's one of the beautiful things of video games is if it's designed right, there's something for everyone to do. I just think a lot of people were hoping for a lot more, or at least very different. And they're not 100% convinced or won over by what was given.
If you take away Group Finder and you make everyone join a guild, I'm not suggesting you do this, by the way. I don't think you should.
So what do you mean YouTube thumbnail meta? Why do you hate the YouTube thumbnail meta? Do you hate the clickbait of the YouTube thumbnail meta? Because I'm going to be honest with you, if it's not there, you're not getting views. I'm going to be very fucking honest with you. If you don't do it, you are not getting views. So I'm not allowed to show you exactly the first page of my YouTube studio, but I'll show you after this, right? So Here we go. These are my views for thumbnails that have little to no clickbait. Okay, we try to keep these thumbnails as balanced as possible to basically just mention what it is. So what is in the video, that is what's in the thumbnail. Now compare that to my thumbnails that's a little bit more clickbait. The difference is fucking night and day. Right? The difference is night and day between what it could have been or what it was and what it is now. There's just a lot more views coming out of videos where you are clickbaiting. Yes, it sucks. I hate doing it. But if I don't, I won't get views. Because if you're not sure why this is happening, it's actually so fucking simple. This is what you're competing with at any given point on YouTube. You're competing with all of these videos. Every single one of them. You have to stand out. If someone is scrolling, and no one fucking scrolls on YouTube, but if someone wanted to scroll, you have to stand out. So they have to see your video and be like, oh God, I want to watch that. They're not going to click on that unless, sup, ladies and gentlemen, unless it stands out. You guys should go watch this. This is the newest episode of this week's podcast. But that's why you have to clickbait. It's sad, but that is why you have to.
But if you were to take away Group Finder and, if Discord didn't exist and you take away in-game communities and you make, keep in-game communities, but you have make everyone be in a raid or a community or a guild or a community to get their groups for Mythic Plus, you'd see a lot less meta specs being taken, a lot more non-meta specs being taken. Because when you're on personal terms with someone, when you're in a guild with someone, when you're in a community with someone, you know them, you've played with them before. It's not the same thing as when you're taking on a complete random. And yeah, if you're looking at complete randoms to take onto your group, of course you're going to take what is seen as the better spec. You're shortening your odds of success. You can win a poker hand with a pair of sevens, right? You're more likely to win a poker hand with a pair of aces. Just saying. So, when you don't know anything about
I know very little about poker. I've played poker once. I lost fucking big, bro. Big. And that was also the day that I said, well, fuck this game. It's bullshit. I don't like it. Fuck it. So screw that fucking game.
The player. Of course you're going to take the, in the same way you would take them, you're going to take the most geared, most meta spec, because you are looking at the things that will affect your chances of success. And you don't know anything about the player, so you can't take that into account. That's not one of the things you can account for, because you don't know the people who are applying on a personal level.
Comedy
You've
right
never
there.
played with them before. They could be anything. So you go by the things that you can quantify, which are item level and the actual spec itself. That's not unfair. That's not unfair. But that doesn't mean that other specs aren't viable. And the thing is,
I do actually agree with Taliesin here, and it's a discussion we've had numerous times in the past. So many people get so fucking triggered over the Radar IO scores. And I'm one of them. I hate Radar IO. I despise item level. Because item level and Radar IO isn't a good representation of your chances of success. How do we know this? Because there's an actual study that was done on it. They looked at groups that asks for item level, and then they looked at groups that don't. And groups that do not ask for item level tend to be more successful. On average, there's more successful groups who just take whatever they need and go, versus groups that, oh, what's your item level? Your item level's too fucking low. Fuck you, bro. We're not going to take you. The issue is, what else do people have to judge you on except for your item level and your IO score? I'm not sure if it's for IO score, because IO is actually... Live, how you doing, bro? Why are you sorry? Sorry for what? Because Radar.io does actually showcase your ability to clear things, so maybe the IO score is a bit better. But I still don't fucking... I'm not a fan. I feel like the meta of gatekeeping just holds people back from being able to just play the fucking game and have fun. Especially when you have, and I've seen this in WoW, someone will want to do a +5 key, and then they have an item level requirement for a +5 key. Dude, if you need an item level requirement for a +5 key, then you should not be doing the fucking +5 key in the first place. Like, things are getting taught. If for the love of fuck, I hate that. That's not on Blizzard. All these systems are player made, except item level. That's players. Oh, I'm not blaming Bertie Bear. I'm not blaming in any way, shape, or form Blizzard for this. By the way, guys, do not link stuff unless you're sub to the channel. If you want to link something, you're more than welcome to do so, but just do it over on Discord. Because yeah, we had some problems in the past with people linking shit that steal people's information and crap. So yeah, I'm not blaming Blizzard for this. This is the conversation for those of you that might have just joined. The conversation very much is around, and this is where I agree with Taliesin. There seems to be this misconception within the community that, you know, meta or off meta sort of mistakes exist and that Blizzard needs to balance things around that. But then when you really dive into it, and this is what I showed just to sort of back up Taliesin's point here, this is the 90th percentile for Zuval kills in Mythic. Every single class and spec in this game is represented in the 90th percentile, which means every single one of these classes are more than fucking viable in order to actually raid. Every single class, every single spec. So the fact that people think Frost Mage isn't good enough clearly exists only in the mind of the player base. And the same is true for item level, the same is true for Radar.io. There is this culture of gatekeeping within... I will say World of Warcraft has a lot of gatekeeping, and its community is incredibly heavy on the gatekeeping side of things, more so than what I've seen whenever I play Final Fantasy. It's not the same. It is there, but it's not nearly as bad in Final Fantasy as it is in World of Warcraft. Now, this could just be a sign of age, because World of Warcraft have been around for much longer. It developed and become this. Because I think we can all agree that it's worse now than it's ever been before. In the past, the only thing that you really had to worry about was gear score. Nowadays, it's like, I need 5 different fucking websites, and I have to update all 5 of them just to get a chance at doing a fucking mythic. You know, so things have gotten worse, I guess you could say. The bigger question, and I don't think there's an answer for this. How do you solve this? How do you fix this? I don't know. I don't know what a company like Blizzard does to fix that culture. Because I don't even think that Blizzard is to blame for the culture existing in the first place. So I don't know.
Specs could be balanced to within 0.1% of each other. There are still going to be meta specs, and people are still going to take those meta specs.
To be clear, there is one way to fix it, and that is if you ban all add-ons through the across the board, and you make it impossible to track how much damage someone is doing. Then sure, then you've basically made it so that no one even fucking knows, and then you remove item level, and then really there is no way to know. There is a way to do it. That is a nuclear option that will piss a lot of people off, right? So this is where you're sort of going to have to go, right, is the upside to this worth the downside? Because there will be a massive downside. So in that regard, I would say not a solution, just because you're going to piss more people off, I think, than what you're going to actually help people, or that you're actually going to have people that's excited by that potential change.
specs because their reasoning for taking those meta specs in pugs would still be the same. The reason they're taking meta specs in pugs is because they are doing the best odds of success in the key on the limited information they have about the players. Even if a meta spec was only a meta spec by 0.1%, people would still be taking those meta specs in pugs over other specs. Even if something was non-meta by 0.1%, people would still not be taking those specs in pugs if they had other options.
True.
For the exact same reasons they're doing it now. It's not anything to do with balance, it's community perception. Like, the times you can actually say that something is really badly balanced are memorable. They're so rare in 36 specs. And that's pretty good. In my opinion, Mike. In my opinion. And again, like, that's back to the original topic of the conversation. That's why analytics should be banned. But I don't know, man. I mean, I quite like being able to analyze how I'm doing. So I don't know. I don't know what to do, but
I do actually think I have a fix for it. But I don't know exactly how it's going to be implemented. But my fix for it would be, because Salieson just said something that a lot of people would also say, and that I agree, I think should be there. The ability to self-analyze, which is what I usually use add-ons for. Whenever I raided in World of Warcraft, I would have a damage meter. And the reason I would use details specifically is details is sort of like a light version of Warcraft logs. Right after a fight, you can actually click on logs and click on graphs to see what you were doing and how you were doing it. And that's really why I wanted it, because I wanted to see where I was in this fight. So the way I would do it, if I was Blizzard, I would make add-ons illegal. So I make add-ons against TOS. And I say that if you are caught using an add-on, you're banned from the game. But that's what I say officially. Unofficially, in the company, so to the QA and the CMs and people like that, right? What I tell them is, look, if someone's using the add-on and we have a guild that's using a bunch of add-ons, that's fine. The only time we ban players for an add-on and the usage of add-ons is if they're using the add-on to bash other people over the head. So, for example, if someone goes into chat and writes to someone else, listen here, you fucking asshole, get your DPS up, you're the lowest. Ban. That is bannable. Because now you've gone from, I want to use the add-on so that I can get better, to bashing other people with the use of your fucking add-on. And I think if you did that, you'd almost immediately fix at least a lot of the underlying problems. Will that fix the culture? Not sure. But I would like to see something like that. I would love to see something like that.
Back to the original statement, which was that if WoW did live letters like Final Fantasy XIV do with Yoshi and the producer, you know, inevitably, and we did see this in with the Q&As, inevitably it would come back round to class balance all the time, because that makes up so much more of the conversation in the community
fucking mental
than it does in Final Fantasy XIV, because there's so many more variables in WoW with talents and with tier sets and with trinkets and with the fact that a lot more people play the game in a competitive way compared to Final Fantasy XIV. What you're saying is that fix for balance complaints is better in-game moderation. I don't know if that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's what I'm saying. No, I don't know if there's an answer to it, really. Because, you know, we all say that having that kind of variety in build variety,
thanks for the Prime sub, did really appreciate that. 4 months
whenever I know Preach doesn't do WoW anymore, but every time you'd watch a Preach video, his mantra when it came to WoW would be choice. Give us choice in our characters. Let us swap out talents and abilities and things so that we can do different things and like make our characters better at different things, like better at AoE or better at single target when they want to be and things like that. And it's a mantra in the WoW community, particularly at the higher ends, that choice is a good thing.
I agree.
But you look at Final Fantasy XIV, there is zero choice.
disagree, Taliesin, because in Final Fantasy 14, you can be any job you want on one character. So it basically took the spec system and built it into just the jobs. And yes, I realize that you have to level each of those jobs, but most gear sort of have multiple jobs that can use the same pieces of gear. So you could very easily have one piece of gear and it should work. So I would argue that you still have choice, but Final Fantasy approaches that choice very differently. So in terms of individual talent choices and class choices and trinket choices and stuff like that, you are correct. WoW has a plethora of choice. And that choice does create issues, but that's usually the trade-off, right? With freedom comes chaos. Freedom means more chaos. That's literally why a lot of people are anti-freedom. This is why the CCP, for example, hates freedom. Because freedom creates chaos. If everyone is free, that means that people are free to do things that not everyone's going to agree with. They're also free to do fucked up shit. That creates chaos. So it's sort of like this. If you want to give people more choice, you also have to deal with the chaotic fallout that comes from more choices. So I do agree in that regard, but I just wanted to make mention that Final Fantasy does approach choice in other ways. I think not better, but different. So they do have other ways of implementing some level of choice. But then again, their game is also, like we said at the beginning, I agree with Taliesin's premise. I disagree with his conclusion because I don't think the problem is class design, and that's why we can't have things like live letters. I think the problem in World of Warcraft is that everything that you can do at max level requires your class to be balanced, to be good, to work. And this is why class design is such an immense point of concern for so many people in World of Warcraft, because WoW doesn't have a housing system. WoW doesn't have a golden saucer. WoW doesn't have all of these casual systems that doesn't require class. It doesn't matter what class you're playing because you're not killing anything. You're building a house, and the houses don't build faster or slower based on the class that you're playing. So it doesn't matter, right? So yeah, I don't know what the right answer is. I'm gonna be honest with you. And that's sort of, whenever we talk about this is what I will always say. I don't know what the answer is. I don't have a magic sort of wand. I don't have a magic bullet. I just know, and this is sort of what I wanted to talk about before I interrupted myself and then got completely sidetracked. But the more choice, this is one of the reasons I'm looking forward to Dragonflight so much. Because Dragonflight is going to provide so much choice in how people want to build their class and play their class. And the cookie cutter build idea means nothing. It doesn't matter. Because the people that will build cookie cutter would always have built cookie cutter. But what about those people who don't even know what the cookie cutter is? Like, they're just playing the game with their mates. They have no idea what the fucking cookie cutter build is. For them, this is going to be fucking fantastic. The idea that they can just build whatever and it's going to feel amazing and they're going to do what they like to do. It's going to be fun to see how people actually play the game when they just have so much freedom in how they want to approach it.
Dragoon is the same. Every gunbreaker is the same. So what is it we actually want? Do we want a choice or not? And if you're going to have a choice, well, we have to accept that it's going to be much harder to balance, and it's going to take up a much larger proportion of the conversation when it comes to that game. Sorry, I wasn't being clear. What I meant was that getting the community to behave better. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, no, I understand that. Sorry, yeah. I just don't. I think you can get the community to behave better, but I don't think you can ever get them to not take the meta specs over the less meta specs. Like I say, even if the meta specs are only meta by 0.1%, I just don't think you're ever going to get them to take the one that's 0.1% less good over the one that is 0.1% more good
problem
when you don't know anything else about the player.
When we're talking about casual, Golfmark, we spoke about this earlier, but I will do a quick recap. So, according to the studies that's been done in the gaming industry, only about 30% of gamers go on official forums and seek out sources of information outside of the game. 70% of players do not. They don't go to forums, they don't watch YouTube videos, they just play the game. You know, they've got full-time jobs. They log in and they play a bit of games and then they log off, they go to bed and they go to work in the morning. They don't give a fuck, right? So these would be what I would consider to be the casual player. This is the guy that he doesn't even know that there's such a thing as class discords. He doesn't even know that there is such a thing as a website where you can see how to build. He's had the same friends. He's been playing World of Warcraft for 15 years. He or she has had the same group of friends for 15 years. They do all of their dungeons together, they do all of their raids together, and they basically just build the fucking class the way that they think it's going to work. They don't even know if they're building the right thing or the wrong thing. They don't care, because at the end of the day, they're just playing with their mates. You know, they're just there to have fun and play the game. That's what I would consider the casual player base, and I do believe that that is the majority of World of Warcraft players by a mile. It is the player that they can't be fucked to go look at some guide on how to do something. They're just going to do it themselves, you know? And if it doesn't work, who gives a shit, right? I'm playing the game. I'm killing stuff. Who cares?
That's why the best advice, and I know no one ever wants to hear this, you know, it's like fad dieters, right? People are like, what's the best like way to lose weight quick?
Oof. Why be attacking me like this, Taliesin? What the fuck did I do, bro? Like just speaking about fat people just immediately, like, whoa, feel attacked now. Holy shit, this got personal fucking quick. Wow.
What they want is for someone to say, this magic diet pill that's been invented will sort you out.
Please.
You'll lose all the weight super quickly. What they don't want anyone to say is the actual truth, which is exercise and just eat healthier. And it's the same with WoW. What no one ever wants to hear is find a guild. Get in a good guild. Get in a guild, make friends, or, you know, at least just get to know people.
It's not even just find a guild. But yes, finding a guild is a good idea. Taliesin is speaking a lot of sense here. It's about finding like-minded individuals that want to play the game the same way that you want to play it. I think if you can do that, it wouldn't even matter what Blizzard does. Like, you wouldn't even care. Because you and your friends are playing the game the way that you want to play the game. I do think in a large part, a lot of what have sort of led to this gatekeeping mindset of the community is the destruction of the community. You know, all the way back in World of Warcraft, pugging and things like that. So all the way back in Wrath, pugging was a pretty rare thing. I know because my guild and another guild were the only two guilds on our entire server that would have weekly alt runs that we would pug. So people were sort of signing up on the website, not to join the guilds, just to get into the pug runs, because they wanted their alts to also go. And there weren't a lot of guilds that were running pugs or alt raids at the time. The default was sort of get into a guild, play with your guild. Nowadays, the default is a lot more play solo, just get groups. So this means that everyone is now gatekeeping everyone else. So yeah, the answer is probably get guilds. Start incentivizing people to get guilds. And this is where Blizzard can actually help, is by giving guilds more tools and making guilds more cool. Like, give some kind of leveling system for guilds like we had in the past, only make the leveling system for the guild something that is personal. So you guys remember how guilds used to work when Blizzard did that full rework of guilds back in the day, where, you know, at max level, you would level faster and you would get more gold. There was like all these perks, right, that guilds would give you. What if you made those perks, what if you put them back into the game, only you made it personal? So when you join a new guild, you don't have any of those perks. And as you play in the guild, and as you and the guild do content together, you gain personal experience that levels you up in that guild. And eventually, when you reach max level with the guild, you now unlock all of those amazing perks. And now you can get all of those good things in the game. Because that solves the issue of people not wanting to join guilds that isn't level 25. Because this basically just means, hey, you can join any guild, because with all guilds that you join, you will start at 0. And then guild housing is another really cool way to make really cool things for guilds, stuff like that.
And that is unfortunately the truth, and no one ever wants to hear it. And there are legitimately very good reasons why some people can't be in guilds. I know, because I've played on time zones.
Nixie, thanks
and
for the
I've
tier 1,
played
really appreciate that.
In
11 runs in a row.
Know,
thank you.
regions where my time zones were so different from everyone else on the region that I just couldn't raid. I couldn't do it, and that's why I had to change regions to the EU in the end. But it's unfortunately the truth. The best advice you can ever give anyone in WoW is join a guild. By the way, I think that's the best advice you can give someone in Final Fantasy XIV as well. But like so many of the things that are listed as problems with WoW are solved.
Yeah, I think so. You're salty, how you doing, brother?
I don't mean good as in filled with good players. I mean good as in nice. Right, but with a less toxic community overall, it would hopefully be easier to get a guild. Oh yeah, 100%. No, I agree with your overall point. I absolutely do, yeah. And, you know, the detoxifying of the community should absolutely be a priority. Do you think it's Blizzard's responsibility to detoxify the community, or is that the community's responsibility? Well, I think Blizzard absolutely have to provide the tools to allow the community to detoxify itself. At the end of the day, the responsibility lies with the community, but Blizzard's responsibility is making it as easy as possible for players to do that. Something that they're never going to do, have more GMs.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't mind toxicity in video games. I come from League of Legends. I was born in it. Plus, I find toxicity to be funny as fuck. There are certain levels of toxicity that I'm not okay with. Things like racism, sexism, those should be insta-bans. The truth, though, is that Blizzard have had those tools for a really long time. The issue is that they never get enforced. So this is one of the reasons I have such a big problem with the social contract that Blizzard just brought out. The social contract is literally in the TOS. It's just never been enforced. And now there's a new document that Blizzard is going to fucking ignore. So I don't, it's weird that we have this new document. Just get fucking GM's forehead and actually start banning people. But another way I think that Blizzard should absolutely enforce is when you ignore someone. So when you place someone on ignore, they should also phase out of your area. So you should no longer be seeing someone that you placed on ignore. Rules are in place but are never enforced. Are they really there then? Zalgadis, no. Rules are only as strong as their enforcement. I mean, if you could have all the rules in the fucking world, if there's no one to enforce them, those rules do not exist. But I genuinely think that's a huge part of the problem in World of Warcraft. Ignore only works on the, as far as I know, I don't know if that's changed, but this is how it used to be. If you ignore someone, it's only that character. They can actually log over to another character and just continue spamming you. They're not blocked as far as their Battle.net account is concerned. I don't know if that's changed. But you should have tools at your disposal to remove problems from your own area. So if someone is bothering you, you should absolutely be able to just ban them or ignore them and never have to deal with their shit ever again.
Having more GMs in the game at any one time would be the best way of doing it, to respond to reports in real time. To respond.
Oh, and also, Blizzard should actually take a page out of Final Fantasy's book here. Tell people what you did. Tell people what you did once they... Because Final Fantasy does this. If you report a player and Final Fantasy bans the player, you get an email back from Final Fantasy saying this is what they did. So they banned the person, they suspended the person, they let you know that something was done to this person. World of Warcraft, on the other hand, doesn't let you know shit, which makes people feel like there's no one's doing anything. It makes people feel like there's no justice, which can then lead to them becoming toxic because they don't think that there's any repercussions for that. Blizzard should absolutely start being a lot more open, sort of transparent with how they're enforcing their rules and what exactly happens when you break those rules.
Respond to problems in real time. That's not something they do enough of. And that is something that they absolutely have to take some blame for sure. In terms of, like, do they foster toxicity with the fact that there were competitive elements to the game? It's a harder thing to quantify, isn't it? But I think WoW's in kind of like a unique position, because how many other games are 20 years old? Like, there's no doubt that internet culture and just societal culture is different now than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah,
just like it was
true.
different in the 90s than it was in the 70s. Right? Like, the culture was very different in the 90s to how it was in the 70s. Loads of things were really acceptable in the 70s that weren't acceptable in the 90s. You know, and that's the comparison we've got here. We're talking about a game that is 20 years old and has not changed. Like, the game is the same game. You've had expansions.
Yeah, but I feel
it's the
that's
same
part of the
game.
problem.
What other game has still got its community from 20 years ago in the same game? Basically none that has this many players. So you've got that thing where people started playing this exact game 20 years ago when the culture was very, very different. Like, they go into a new game, they adopt, like, today's culture. They go into a game that they've been playing for 20 years, it's like they go back to being the culture they were 20 years ago. In a way, some people. It's a challenge that other games don't really face to the same degree.
Yeah, but I would say to that point, and on this final point, that is in some ways the fault of Blizzard. And I know that's not actually the point that Taliesin was making, but I'll make the point anyways, because fuck it, it's my stream. Blizzard sort of became very stagnant in terms of this is how we've always done it, and this is how we'll do it. You know, fuck everyone else. And it's kind of like, well, in the meantime, gamers have evolved, gamers have changed, gamers have adapted. As more games came out, games have started doing things differently. And this means that you have to adapt or die. And I feel like in the last really 4 years, that inability to adapt is at least, not for the most part, but in a big way, responsible for the decline of World of Warcraft. As people have started to play other games and have started to realize that, hey, why is it that so many other games get so many things right, but World of Warcraft still seems to trail behind? But how do you know that World of Warcraft has everything to gain and nothing to lose? Because people still compare all of those games to WoW. Whenever people say anything nice about Final Fantasy, they'll always be like, compared to WoW, Final Fantasy has all this, this, and this. The fact that they're still making that comparison to World of Warcraft tells you they want WoW to be like that, right? So WoW still has a lot to gain. It just needs to catch up. It just needs to catch up to what everyone else has been doing and how the gaming industry has been changing. So hopefully Dragonflight is that. Hopefully Dragonflight is that. Anyways, fuck it. That was longer than I expected. That was much longer than I expected. Dude, you guys realize we just made 26 minutes and we reacted for almost an hour and a half. Christ. I should speak less, bro. I should speak less. I should just become one of those React Andys that just watch stuff. Like, I don't speak at all. I just sit here and I watch. And what I do then, you know what I'm going to do from now on? This is how I react. Like, I'll put the video on, right? Raingrad, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the first tip, chat. Really appreciate that. Yeah, pretty much like fucking Asmongold. Although not quite. Asmongold is still the king when it comes to that. But what I'll do from now on, this is going to be the easiest content in the world. I'm going to put on the content, and then I'm just going to sit like this on my phone. And I'll just text people and chat, and just every once in a while I'll look at the video and I'll be like, oh. And then as soon as we're like, oh, that was a good video. Let's do another one. Fuck it. just sit here and chill with myself while the video goes in the background. You gotta pull an XQC and walk away while the content is running. Oh my god, dude, it's not just XQC. I was watching a streamer, I think yesterday. I was just sort of randomly going through Twitch and I found a random streamer, like random Andy, busy reacting to D&D. He was watching some D&D reaction. I fucking kid you not. The video is playing, right? He's sitting there for about 5 minutes, not making a fucking peep, just sort of hanging out, you know? And then, without saying, not even saying excuse me, he just does this. The video's playing. He just does this. Gets busy with shit in his room and he's fucking walking around. Like, he's cleaning up. He's just cleaning his room while, like, the video is playing. It's like, bro, what? What kind of fucking content is that? Like, you're basically using other people to do the content on your fucking behalf. Like, you're just basically, your stream is just playing YouTube videos, right? Carlord, you bastard. Thanks for the tier. What's up, dude? Really appreciate that. Welcome to the most degenerate chat on Twitch. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're far too kind, sir. Far too fucking kind. So different with your 8 Sid? Do I? How so? Different good, different bad? Carlo, it is my absolute pleasure. And now, ladies and gentlemen, just because we've reacted to Taliesin, I am going to raid Taliesin. I have to go. My power's going to go out soon. So I can't stay. I will be back tomorrow for those of you that is interested, that enjoy the content. Tomorrow we will probably be reacting to some other stuff and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. So yeah, be back tomorrow, same time, same place as always. Love all of you. Thank you so much for hanging out. Go say hello to Taliesin. Go tell him that we enjoyed his video. Told him he was messy. I'll go watch FST and probably fall asleep. MMO, thank you so much. Really appreciate all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, and I will see all of you in the next one. Peace out, fam.